Chapter 2166. Understood. Then you want to say that you came here in this kind of flying saucer. So, you think this flying saucer looks familiar? Asked Yang Ming. Yes, that's it. Lu Yezi breathed a sigh of relief and said, So you don't have to worry. I am the same as you. We won't give birth to an alien baby. What alien? I'm talking about aliens. Said Yi. Huh, isn't it the same? Lu Yezi laughed. Lu Yezi, it turns out that you have a big background. You are an alien. So, that flying saucer might really have something to do with you? Asked Yang Ming. Although I have seen a flying saucer and I have a flying saucer at home, I can't say that the flying saucer belongs to my family. Lu Yezi smiled bitterly. It's so far away now, and I can't see it clearly. Who knows what happened to this flying saucer? Maybe it crashed here. Forget it. No matter what it is, we have to go and see it tomorrow. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, It's too late today. The road is not easy to walk on, and we can't cross it. Let's wait until tomorrow to see what happened. That's true. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Lu Yezi also nodded and said. However, Yi didn't seem to want to let Lu Yezi go. Yezi, where is your home? Why did you go to an alien planet? I don't know. My father didn't tell me much about him. I just came here to experience. I don't know anything else. Lu Yezi spread his hands and smiled bitterly. So that's the case. Yi nodded and said, Then, you told me before that you wanted me to go back with you. You wanted to say something but stopped. Did you want me to accompany you back to the planet where you live? Yes, I wanted to say it at the time, but things were too unbelievable, so I didn't say it at the time. Lu Yezi said, I said it at the time, but I was afraid that you wouldn't believe me. But now that I saw such a flying saucer, I told you my origin, then you came from an alien planet. Do you have any powerful cards? Asked Yang Ming. Isn't there only such a jade pendant? It is said that it can be used as a high-end communicator and storage space, but it has been broken for a long time and it has not been repaired. At present, it can only be used as a predictor, and sometimes it's not very effective. Lu Yezi said helplessly, As for other things, I don't have anything else. If I had it, I would to use Jin Ganggu here with you. Yang Ming nodded and said, I thought you would have some powerful trump card. You made me happy for nothing. What do you think? If there was really any powerful special ability, I would have said it long ago. Lu Yezi smiled bitterly. Everyone agreed that they would head straight for that flying saucer-shaped object the next morning. He wanted to see what it was, too. Everyone woke up early the next morning. Today, everyone had agreed to explore the flying saucer, so everyone was a little excited. Although the flying saucer seemed to be closer, it was actually very far away, so everyone had to return to the battery car first, and then drive the battery car to find the flying saucer. Because everyone was anxious, they walked very fast. They didn't have the mood to stop and look at the scenery like before, so it only took them one morning to return to the place where the battery car was parked. Next, everyone drove the battery car without stopping and then quickly drove to the location of the flying saucer. This time, everyone was moving at full speed, but even so, the speed of the battery car couldn't be increased. This was also because Elder Yu deliberately limited the speed of the battery car for everyone's safety. This battery car was convertible, so the safety factor was not very high. Elder Yu was also afraid that there would be some problems when driving at high speed. If someone was injured, who would help him study the Hercules goo? Therefore, even if everyone drove very fast, it was already evening when they arrived at the location of the flying saucer. But this was not important because Hope was in front of them. Everyone was about to arrive at the location of the flying saucer. The closer they got, the more surprised Lu Yezi was. This was because this flying saucer was exactly the same as the one in his house. He was very excited. Could it be that this flying saucer really came from his house? Finally, the two battery cars stopped next to the flying saucer. Lu Yezi looked at the flying saucer in front of him in a daze. He had a feeling of déjà vu. This feeling made him feel a little emotional. It seems to be a flying saucer from our planet. Lu Yezi looked at the flying saucer and murmured, I wonder if anyone is here. Or is it an abandoned flying saucer that no one wants? It doesn't seem to be. Yang Ming shook his head and said, this flying saucer looks very new, and there are no signs of damage. As far as I can see, the facilities inside are also intact. Of course, I don't know what the damage is like, but there should be no problem visually. Is there anyone in there? Lu Yezi shouted at the flying saucer excitedly. There is no one in the flying saucer. Yang Ming shook his head. He had used his X-ray vision to check before. The flying saucer was empty. There was no life in it, so Yang Ming was so sure. It turns out that there is no one. Lu Yezi said with some disappointment, I thought there would be someone in there. Then, why would this flying saucer appear here? How would I know this? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. However, since this flying saucer is similar to the one in your house, do you know how to operate it? Can we use the flying saucer to deal with Elder Yu? Are there any high-tech weapons in it? How is that possible? Oh. Lu Yezi suddenly shook his head with a bitter smile. Let's not talk about the fact that I don't have the activation password of the flying saucer. Even if I do, this flying saucer can only travel through space. It has no attack function. I see. I have seen in science fiction movies that flying saucers can shoot lasers or something like that. It seems very powerful. Xia Shui said with some disappointment. You also said that it was a science fiction movie. Lu Yezi said helplessly. Then didn't we come here for nothing? Yang Ming frowned and looked at the behemoth in front of him helplessly. Oh. Chapter 2167. Should I study it again? Lu Yezi smiled bitterly and said, aren't we just here to see something new? Even if it can't be used, isn't it good to take a photo here as a souvenir? Okay. Yang Ming also knew that he was too anxious. When he saw the flying saucer, he thought that he could find a weapon to deal with Elder Yu, but he didn't expect that this flying saucer didn't have any attack power. It couldn't be controlled and used. Lu Yezi carefully observed the flying saucer, trying to find a way to control the flying saucer, but he couldn't find it. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find any device that could activate the flying saucer. Yang Ming and others stood next to the flying saucer to take a photo. This was a rare opportunity. Most people wouldn't see a flying saucer in their lifetime, let alone a flying saucer on the ground. This was also a fortuitous encounter. No, I don't know the activation password. If I enter it randomly, I may break the activation device of the flying saucer. Lu Yezi stood up and said with a wry smile. What will happen if you break it? Asked Yang Ming. After it is broken, the flying saucer may enter a locked state. The specific consequences will be judged according to the initial setting. It may self-destruct, or nothing may happen. It may also be that after it is locked, only the owner of the flying saucer can unlock it. This is hard to say. Lu Yezi said, although this is very similar to the flying saucer in my house, it is hard to say whether it is the flying saucer in my house because I have been away from home for many years, so I don't have a deep impression of it. I didn't invent the flying saucer. I just wrote it once, so that's the case. Then you try it. If we really activate this flying saucer, maybe we can find some secrets in it. Yang Ming suggested, even if this flying saucer is destroyed, we have nothing to lose. What if the owner of the flying saucer comes back here and finds that the flying saucer is destroyed? What if he can't go home? Lu Yezi was a little worried. This flying saucer is placed here, so it should be ownerless, right? We have been in the Medicine Valley for so long, and we haven't seen anyone else appear, so I feel like someone left it here and didn't want it. Said Yang Ming. Then let's try it. Yang Ming's proposal made Lu Yezi a little tempted. After all, no one knew what secrets were in this flying saucer. What if they could find an opportunity to deal with Elder Yu? Therefore, Lu Yezi finally nodded. Let's give it a try. I'll use my X-ray vision to observe the situation inside the flying saucer for you. If anything bad happens, we'll evacuate as soon as possible. Yang Ming said. Alright, then it's settled. I'm going to try to activate this flying saucer. Lu Yezi nodded. However, just as everyone was preparing to test the passcode of the flying saucer, suddenly, a rumbling sound came from the cliff not far behind them. What happened? Yang Ming's reaction was the fastest. He turned around abruptly and saw that on the cliff behind him, a stone door suddenly appeared, and the stone door was slowly opening at this moment. Could it be that I've caused a chain reaction? But I haven't touched the UFO yet. Lu Yezi innocently stretched out his hands, indicating that he hadn't started yet. Could it be that the owner of the flying saucer is coming out? Yang Ming thought of a possibility. Since Lu Yezi hadn't touched the flying saucer yet, the stone door on the cliff behind him had opened. There was only one possibility. The owner of the flying saucer had just heard the conversation between Yang Ming and others. They saw that Yang Ming and others wanted to violently test the activation code of the flying saucer, so they opened the stone door and prepared to stop Yang Ming and others from continuing. At this moment, the stone door was still slowly rising. Lu Yezi, Yang Ming, and others also put down what they were doing and stared at the stone door intently. They wanted to see what would appear behind the stone door. Would it be a human, a monster, or an alien? Of course, everyone was also prepared for battle. If it was an enemy, then there would definitely be a conflict. Yang Ming, Lu Yezi, Lin Dongfang, and Feng Tianlong all took the lead and stood in front, protecting the two pregnant women in the team. Don't test it. It will destroy the activation device of the flying saucer. Before the stone door on the cliff was fully opened, a voice shouted loudly to everyone. However, this voice made everyone feel relieved. At the very least, this showed that the person behind the stone door was a human and not a monster. Moreover, it was a human like everyone else because everyone could understand what he said. Accompanied by the sound of kakaka, the stone door finally rose completely, and what followed was some flying dust. What shocked Yang Ming was that his special ability couldn't penetrate the stone wall of this cave, so he couldn't see the scene inside the stone wall of the cave clearly. This had never happened before. Yang Ming's special ability failed for the first time. While Yang Ming was shocked, he subconsciously used his X-ray vision to look at other places. He found that he could see through the flying saucer and other things. He could even see Lu Yezi's internal organs, but he couldn't see through the situation behind the stone door. The only explanation was that the stone door must have used some kind of high-tech means to guard against Yang Ming's X-ray vision. Of course, this was not necessarily to guard against Yang Ming. Perhaps this was just one of the safety precautions. This also made Yang Ming have a strong interest in the people behind the stone door. Obviously, the other party had an extremely high level of technology, which could be seen from the flying saucer in front of them. This stone door proved this point. Even Yang Ming's X-ray vision was useless. Finally, the dust dissipated, and Yang Ming and others could see the situation behind the stone door clearly. Ah! Lu Yezi exclaimed, "Grandpa's son, why are you here?" With Lu Yezi's exclamation, Yang Ming also widened his eyes and looked at the two people in the cave in front of him in disbelief. Because he knew these two people. To be exact, he had seen them before, but he was not very familiar with them. Obviously, after Lu Yezi called out, "Grandpa's son," he also saw the person beside Grandpa's Sunday. He was even more surprised. Aren't you the fortune teller?" "Ha, little Yezi, really? I didn't want you to find out, but who knew that you were going to forcibly activate the flying saucer's device? I was afraid that you would break it, so I could only show myself." Grandpa's son said helplessly. "You, aren't you?" Yang Ming rushed over quickly. This old man, Yang Ming would never forget in his life. Chapter 2168. Yes, among the two people in front of him, the old man called Grandpa's son was the old man who gave Yang Ming a pair of contact lenses and let Yang Ming embark on the path of the strong. So, how could Yang Ming not be surprised? The other one was the old fortune teller, Old Man Mo, whom Yang Ming met in the night market near the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Yang Ming really couldn't imagine that the mysterious old man he had been looking for would actually meet here. And why would he be with the old Taoist, Mo Kongwen? "Ah, Yang Ming, we meet again. Good boy, it seems that I didn't give the wrong glasses to the wrong person." Grandpa's son smiled and nodded to Yang Ming and said, "I am very happy to see you here. It seems that after you got this pair of glasses, you did a lot of good things. Otherwise, I would have taken this pair of glasses back." "Aw. Take it back." Yang Ming was shocked. He didn't expect Grandpa's son to take back the glasses. However, Yang Ming was very fortunate. After he got this pair of glasses, he didn't do any bad things. "I can give it to you. Naturally, I can take it back." Grandpa's son nodded and said, "But you used this pair of glasses to do some serious things. Although sometimes you did some dirty things like peeking at girls, it didn't hurt. The ones you peeked at were your own girlfriends. This isn't a problem, ugh. Grandpa's son, you can see what I do." Yang Ming was shocked. He didn't expect that the things he did couldn't escape Grandpa's son's eyes. Then, what he saw, Grandpa's son could see it too. "Of course, I can't see it, but I know what you do with the glasses. The eyes have a function to record information. It can record what you do with it every day. Although I can't see the specific image, I know the general things you do," said Grandpa's Sunday. "Ugh, this pair of glasses can actually transmit information." Yang Ming was surprised. "Of course." Grandpa's son smiled and said, "The technology here is something you can't imagine. It turns out to be like this." Yang Ming suddenly understood. However, he looked at Lu Yezi again. Lu Yezi actually knows this Grandpa's son. Seeing Yang Ming's inquiring gaze, Lu Yezi naturally understood what Yang Ming meant. He wanted Lu Yezi to introduce him, so he said, "Bro, this is Grandpa's son Sikong. He is an engineer. This flying saucer in front of us was invented and made by him. He's a PhD in science and technology. He's very impressive." "Ah. So, he's from your planet?" Yang Ming asked in surprise. "You can say that." Lu Yezi nodded and said, "As for why he is here, I don't understand." "And he gave you the glasses. It seems that you know more about him than me, right?" Lu Yezi was telling the truth. He didn't have much contact with Sun Sikong because Sun Sikong was busy with research in the past. He only dealt with Sun Sikong when he came here to take the flying saucer. At other times, there was no contact. I only met Grandpa's son in an accident." Yang Ming smiled bitterly. At that time, he was bullied by a few little gangsters. I just happened to teach those people a lesson, but I accidentally broke my own glasses. Grandpa's son gave me a pair of contact lenses to compensate me. I didn't expect that this pair of glasses could see through things. It could also be used for long-distance vision and myopia. Yang Ming, let me ask you. If I take back the glasses now, will you give it to me? Sun Sikong suddenly asked. Ah. Now? Yang Ming was stunned. Sun Sikong's words caught Yang Ming off guard. He didn't know how to answer. Answer me. Sun Sikong said sternly. Yang Ming lowered his head and pondered for a moment. Then, he said with certainty, Here. Oh. Don't you feel bad? This kind of powerful ability, most people don't want to lose it after they have it. Why do you still agree to return it to me? Sun Sikong looked at Yang Ming with interest and asked. Although my success is inseparable from this pair of glasses, when I think about it carefully, if I don't have this pair of glasses, I can still succeed. Yang Ming looked up and said, Success and failure, sometimes it depends on the mentality. If there is confidence in the heart, as long as there is a dream, it will definitely be realized. On the contrary, if there is no dream and you give up, then no matter how good the tool is, it can't turn the situation around. Well said. Sun Sikong nodded with satisfaction. Now that I think about it, this pair of glasses gave me mainly because of confidence. Although I would have some trouble without this pair of glasses, as long as I have confidence, I think I can solve it in other ways. It doesn't necessarily have to rely on special abilities. Yang Ming said, but I have to admit that this pair of glasses allowed me to take a shortcut. Without it, maybe even if I had confidence, my road to success wouldn't be so smooth. You can figure out this truth, so my trust is not in vain. Sun Sikong nodded. Moreover, after you got the glasses, you weren't just greedy for enjoyment. Instead, you did a lot of big things. For example, this time, you and Lu Yezi came here to deal with Elder Yu. It was a big deal. Thank you, Grandpa's son, for your trust, said Yang Ming. Well, Grandpa's son, let's not talk about the matter between you and the boss. Let's talk about why you are here. And why is this fortune teller here? This was the strangest thing for Lu Yezi. I knew you would ask about this. Sun Sikong said, since you found out, then I won't hide it. The main purpose of my coming here is actually to watch you from the side. It can be regarded as a kind of protection in disguise. Your father was afraid that you would encounter trouble and problems here, so he asked us to secretly monitor you. However, he was afraid that your self-esteem wouldn't be able to stand it, so all this was done in secret. It turns out to be like this. Lu Yezi shrugged helplessly. He didn't feel much disgust. After all, it was reasonable for parents to worry about their children. He was going to be a father soon. Now, sometimes he would be nervous about Yi and the child in her belly. This was understandable. Poor parents, so Lu Yezi was not angry. He was just a little helpless. I was wondering, why does this fortune teller always appear near the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? It turns out that he is also monitoring me, this. I'm really sorry. Mo Kongwen said with a bitter smile. Chapter 2169. Then, what should I call you? Grandpa Mo. Lu Yezi said. Little master, you're flattering me. My master is your father's martial nephew. My master and you are of the same generation, and I am only your junior. Mo Kongwen said with some fear and trepidation. Your master. Who is your master? Lu Yezi was stunned. My master is Jiao Yazi. He is your father's martial nephew. Mo Kongwen quickly replied. So, you are Jiao Yazi's disciple. Lu Yezi suddenly understood. Indeed, Zhao Yazi was his father's martial nephew, so he was of the same generation as him. So, his disciple was naturally a generation younger than him. It was not too much to call him Little Master. Yes. Mo Kongwen said, so, I set up a fortune-telling stall near you so that I can take better care of you. Then all those fortune-telling things you said were all lies? Feng Tianlong quickly asked. What he cared about now was whether his daughter could change her fate in the future. Of course not. I've learned some Chimen Duinjia techniques from my master, so what I said is true. Mo Kongwen smiled and said, you don't have to worry. Your daughter will have her own opportunities in the future, but now, I can't reveal the secrets of heaven. I say, Mo Kongwen, you can't reveal anything to me. Do you want me to ask that old guy Zhao Yazi? Brother Feng is anxious. Can't you say something definite? Lu Yezi saw Feng Tianlong's anxious look and couldn't help but ask. This. It's not that I don't want to say it, but some secrets of heaven are not secrets of heaven anymore. Mo Kongwen said with some helplessness, Little Master, you also know that some things have to be left to fate. If you do it deliberately, it may change the normal course of things. When the time comes, there will be a deviation in fate, and the loss will outweigh the gain. That's true. Lu Yezi nodded, Brother Feng, what Mo Kongwen said makes sense, so you don't have to worry too much. I don't know about him, but I know about his master Zhao Yazi. He is a very powerful person. If he says it's fine, it must be fine. Alright, then I won't ask anymore. Feng Tianlong nodded, you're right. If I knew the details, my mentality would change. When that time comes, doing things on purpose would have the opposite effect. Let's not talk about this first, let's talk about the main point. I say, Grandpa's son, and Mo Kongwen. You see us suffering here, and you can't do anything to elder you. Won't you help? Lu Yezi spread his hands and smiled bitterly, do you have any high-tech weapons? Let us use them to kill Elder Yu, and then we'll be done with it. We really don't have any. Sun Sikong shook his head and said, Lu Yezi, your father told us to let you experience it yourself. He didn't ask us to help you deal with Elder Yu. Moreover, we don't have any offensive weapons. Then, there are no laser cannons in this flying saucer. Lu Yezi asked. This flying saucer is just a flying device, nothing more. Sun Sikong said. What if I'm in danger? How are you going to protect me? Lu Yezi asked somewhat unwillingly. Although he also knew that if he asked Sun Sikong and the others for help, it would lose the meaning of the experience, but this time, everyone had no other way, so Lu Yezi asked for help. Every time you are facing an enemy, we will activate the flying saucer. If you are in danger, we will appear in front of you and take you away with the flying saucer. Sun Sikong said, according to your father, we can only do this. Lu Yezi was a little speechless. It turned out that their so-called looking after was just helping him escape at a critical moment. We are here to look after you at a close distance. We don't want to be discovered by you. Sun Sikong smiled bitterly, but even if you find out, it's fine. If you want to leave, just say the word, and you can leave at any time. But if you want to deal with Elder Yu, there is really no way. Yes, in fact, we have also secretly helped Little Master study it. This Elder Yu is now invulnerable. Ordinary weapons are really not his opponent. I estimate that even heavy weapons have no effect on him. Mo Kongwen said. Are you serious? Then isn't he Superman? Yang Ming was surprised. Of course, it is true. Sun Sikong said, I have been engaged in scientific research for so long, but I still haven't figured out what is going on with this voodoo. This is a magical knowledge. Then it seems that there is no other way. Lu Yezi was a little disappointed. It seems that we still have to follow the previous plan. Before we get rid of Elder Yu, I can't go with you. My teammates are here. This is also my mission. We are not asking you to go, but at a critical moment, if your life is in danger, we will take you away. Sun Sikong said. In that case, then among us, if other people are in danger, can you take them away too? Lu Yezi hesitated and asked. In this way, all the team members, as long as they were in danger, could summon the flying saucer and let the flying saucer take them away instantly. That would be awesome. This can't. Sun Sikong shook his head. Can't. Why? My father won't let me. Lu Yezi was stunned. That's not it. It's just that we can only monitor your danger, but we can't monitor the danger of others. Sun Sikong said, the jade pendant you are wearing can predict bad luck, and the strength of the bad luck signal is also the switch of whether the flying saucer automatically activates the summoning function. If you are in fatal danger, the flying saucer can be quickly activated without our control and take you away, but others can't. We can't monitor, then, can you improve the jade pendant so that as long as my teammates are in danger, the jade pendant can also give an early warning? Lu Yezi asked. This is possible, but the transformation can't be completed overnight. You are sure that you want to transform it? For your safety, you can only stay here. After the transformation is completed, you can leave with the jade pendant. Sun Sikong explained. Then forget it. I will transform it when I have time in the future. Lu Yezi said helplessly. Although they could also activate the flying saucer when they met an acquaintance, everyone's gains were not great. Chapter 2170. If it were any other time, Yang Ming and the others might be very excited, but now, everyone's first thought was to deal with Elder Yu, and they couldn't help here, so everyone's thoughts were naturally gone. Let's continue with our original plan. Yang Ming said, but Yezi, you have a life-saving trump card. After going back, I am going to put the jade pendant on Yi. Lu Yezi said solemnly, I am afraid that she is in danger now. Yi was slightly taken aback. She quickly shook her head and said, this can't be done. This jade pendant is yours, and it is used to save your life. I am not going to fight the enemy. Why do you want to give it to me? I have Jin Ganggu to protect me. There is no problem. Said Lu Yezi. Doesn't Elder Yu have the powder to crack Jin Ganggu? Yi shook her head. Although the powder can crack Jin Ganggu, it only makes the Jin Ganggu's person weak, but the Jin Ganggu is still there. It just temporarily loses the ability to move. Lu Yezi said, but it can't kill me. But since Elder Yu has the powder to crack Jin Ganggu, you can't guarantee that he has other ways to make Jin Ganggu completely ineffective. Yi said, no, I don't want this jade pendant anyway. Well, Yezi, although your jade pendant can't transmit a signal to the flying saucer when your teammates are in danger and let the flying saucer save you in time, you can use the jade pendant's spiritual transmission to understand the danger your friends are in. You can save them in time. Sun Sikong said, so wearing the jade pendant on you is more effective than wearing it on others. I see. Lu Yezi thought about it. If Yi is in danger, I can still sense it. Although the flying saucer can't receive the signal, can't I rescue her? If I am in danger in front of Yi, it will still attract the flying saucer. Then, if I hold Yi, won't we be taken away by the flying saucer together? Thinking of this, Lu Yezi nodded. After all, Yi was not a fighter, and she was not in much danger. However, he was most familiar with the jade pendant. When he wore it, he could sense the safety of his teammates at any time. By the way, Grandpa's son, since you're so powerful, can you help Brother Lin get rid of the Herculean voodoo if he takes it? Yang Ming suddenly asked. This. I can't. Sun Sikong shook his head and said, as I said before, voodoo is a very profound knowledge. It is a different direction from the science and technology one study. When you were studying voodoo, I also studied it, but there was no progress. This is not what I am good at. I see. Yang Ming was a little disappointed. Alright, Yang Ming, you don't have to study it anymore. I've already decided to take it, so just let me take it. Anyway, it's not necessarily a bad thing to stay here. When the time comes, don't you want your grandson to stay with me? Then I won't be lonely anymore. Lin Dongfang said. Little master, do you plan to let your child stay? Mo Kongwen was stunned when he heard Lin Dongfang's words. That's right. Firstly, it's to let him accompany father-in-law. Secondly, it's to let him gain experience. Lu Yezi said, boys need to gain experience. Isn't this my father's consistent point of view? This is, but... Mo Kongwen was a little hesitant. But what? Lu Yezi asked, does father want me to take the child back? Little master, you also know that your father has a lot of cultivation mantras, but when he met you, you had already missed the best age for cultivation. You didn't have a good foundation from the moment you were born, so you can only cultivate some cultivation mantras to strengthen your body. This is the same as your grandparents. Although you can live a long life, you don't have much attack power. Mo Kongwen explained, so, Martial Uncle hopes that you can take your child back and let him cultivate from a young age, so that he can become a very powerful person. Mo Kongwen explained, so, Martial Uncle hopes that you can take your child back and let him cultivate from a young age, so that he can become a very powerful person. Mo Kongwen's words made Lu Yezi silent. It was true that his father had a lot of cultivation mantras. His father's early experience was very strange. He encountered aliens, so he obtained a lot of precious information, including some martial arts mantras that had been passed down from ancient times that had been extinct. However, there were restrictions on cultivation. It must be supplemented with medicine. The foundation had to be laid from the moment of birth, which was the so-called foundation. If the foundation was not laid, then he could not cultivate. He could only cultivate some ordinary cultivation mantras to strengthen his body and prolong his life. Lu Yezi did not live with his father when he was young because of some things, so he could not cultivate the powerful mantras that his father spoke of. Now, it was understandable that his father wanted his grandson to cultivate them. Then, can't he cultivate here? Lu Yezi naturally couldn't bear to let Lin Dongfang be alone here, so he asked. It's not impossible, but this mantra is quite unique. If no one is supervising and guiding him, it is easy to go berserk. Moreover, haste makes waste. If you are too greedy, it is likely to make mistakes. And here, Mr. Lin Dongfang does not understand these things. When the time comes, if there is a problem with his cultivation, it will be difficult to handle. Mo Kongwen explained. So it's like this. Lu Yezi was a little disappointed, but he still asked unwillingly, then, can you leave someone to supervise or guide his cultivation? Or, can you think of a way to let him cultivate step by step? How about this, I will ask Granduncle Master and then reply to you, is that okay? Mo Kongwen hesitated and said. Okay, then you ask for instructions first. Lu Yezi said, if you can't do it, then I will do it. I don't believe that if I act coquettishly and roll on the ground, father will not agree. Sun Sikong and Mo Kongwen were speechless at the same time. Yang Ming and others almost burst out laughing. After a small gathering with Sun Sikong and Mo Kongwen, Yang Ming and others were also ready to leave. Since they couldn't find a good way here, they could only follow the original plan and let Lin Dongfang take the vigor voodoo. By the way, although we can't help you deal with Elder Yu, we have a communication device here that can contact the outside world. Do you want to contact the outside world? Sun Sikong suddenly thought of something when Yang Ming and others were about to leave, and said quickly. Oh. Chapter 2171. You can contact the outside world. That's great. Yang Ming was stunned and then said happily. He had been here for so long, but he hadn't contacted his family to report his safety. So, this time there was an opportunity. How could Yang Ming let it go easily? Of course, the one who was even more excited was Lu Tianqi. When he heard that he could contact the outside world, the muscles on his face started to tremble. He was too excited. He wanted to immediately call his parents and tell them that he and Xiao Jing were fine. They were still alive and safe. Yes, there is a signal shield in this valley, but my technology here can pass through the shield and make a call. There is no problem. Sun Sikong said, although we can't help in dealing with Elder Yu, if you want to contact the outside world, you can do it at any time. Yang Ming nodded. Indeed, Elder Yu was invulnerable. Even a bomb might not hurt him. Sun Sikong's alien technology might not be Elder Yu's opponent. Because Elder Yu couldn't be judged with common sense at this moment. If they could defeat Elder Yu with just some weapons, Lonling's Lonmiao village wouldn't have spent so much effort to refine the Herculean voodoo. Moreover, Sun Sikong only had such a flying saucer without any attack ability. It looked like it was only the size of 2 cars. It was too difficult for him to deal with Elder Yu. So, after Yang Ming mentioned it once, he didn't mention it again. Where is it? Is it in the flying saucer? Asked Yang Ming. Not in the flying saucer, but in the cave here. Sun Sikong said, in the cave, I made a simple base to monitor your movements. Oh, then you won't see anything that others shouldn't see, right? Asked Yang Ming. Of course not. This device has an automatic filtering function. I can't see these. Sun Sikong also sweated and said, we are just checking your safety. We won't monitor your privacy. I'm just asking casually. Yang Ming saw that Sun Sikong was formal, so he naturally knew that he wouldn't do such a thing. Several people followed Sun Sikong into the cave. The space in the cave wasn't big, only a few square meters. There was a row of work tables neatly placed with some monitors on them. Not far from the tables, there were 2 beds. Obviously, this was where Sun Sikong and Mo Kongwen rested. The working environment here could be said to be simple and crude. There was no decoration. It was just a workshop. This was also a temporary foothold built by Sun Sikong to monitor everyone's safety. He didn't intend to work here for a long time. It's here. Sun Sikong pointed to a telephone-like communication device and said, this can bypass the signal shield and talk directly. You can talk now. Who wants to go first? Lu Tianqi was eager to try, but he was embarrassed to be the first one to make the call, so he turned to look at Yang Ming. Yang Ming was anxious in his heart, but he wasn't as anxious as Lu Tianqi, so he smiled and said, Brother Lu, you should go first. You haven't contacted your family for many years. Godfather and godmother must be worried about you. Then. I won't be polite. Lu Tianqi nodded and looked at the phone on the table. With a trembling hand, he dialed the phone number that he had repeated thousands of times in his heart. Soon, the phone was connected. Lu Weishan's vigorous and powerful voice came from the other side. Although he was a little depressed, he still sounded very hale and hearty. Hello, I'm Lu Weishan. Said Lu Weishan. Dad. After sobbing for a long time, Lu Tianqi finally said this word. Yes, he had been suppressing his emotions for too long, so it took him a long time to say such an incomplete sentence. When Lu Weishan heard this familiar voice, he was slightly stunned at first, then he was surprised and happy. His voice became a little trembling. You are Tianqi. Dad, it's me. It's me. Lu Tianqi said with a sob, it's me. Dad, are you okay? Good, Tianqi, this is great. After so many years, there is finally news of you. Lu Weishan was very happy. His voice changed. How about Xiao Jing? Is Xiao Jing okay? She is also very good. We are all very good. Lu Tianqi said, Dad, is Mom okay? She is also very good. Her body is good. Lu Weishan said, where are you? What happened in these years? I am still in Miaojiang. I still have a task to complete. After I finish it, I will go back. You don't have to worry about me. Lu Tianqi said, you don't have to worry about me here. As for other things, I will tell you when I go back. There are still people waiting to call here. Time is precious. Let's not talk about it first. Wait, you haven't talked to your mother. Lu Weishan said, I will call her. You wait. Old woman, come quickly. Our son is calling. Lu Tianqi was helpless, but there was no way. He could only wait for his mother to pick up the phone. However, on the other side of the phone, his mother's voice came from afar and said, who is it? Yang Ming called. It's not Big Ming, it's Tianqi. Right, Tianqi, why did you think of calling me? When Lu Weishan was asked by her, he suddenly remembered that Lu Tianqi called him. How was Yang Ming? Who was the one who found Lu Tianqi and asked him to call home? Taking advantage of this time, Yang Ming took the phone and smiled, Godfather, I am here. I am with Brother Lu. You don't have to worry about me. We have already met up. We are completing the last task together. Ha ha ha, good. Lu Weishan heard Yang Ming's voice and said good 3 times. One was his biological son, and the other was his godson. They were both safe and sound. This was his biggest comfort. These days, besides worrying about Lu Tianqi's whereabouts, he was also worried about Yang Ming. This time, his heart could finally be at ease. However, before Lu Weishan finished his words, Lu Weishan's wife took over and said hurriedly, Tianqi, is that you? Godmother, it's me, Yang Ming. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. It's Big Ming. I was talking about you. Your godfather is old and confused. He actually said that it was Tianqi who called. I think he has been worried about you recently. Lu Weishan's wife, Aunt Chu, complained. Sweat. Yang Ming heard his godmother's words and suddenly sweated. Oh. Chapter 2172. It's not like that. Godfather is right. It was indeed Brother Lu who was talking on the phone just now. I just took advantage of this gap and said a few words to him. Godmother, I will change it to Brother Lu immediately. Yang Ming said quickly. Ah. Aunt Chu was stunned suddenly. She said in disbelief, really? Yang Ming, don't lie to me. Of course, it's true. Yang Ming said with a smile, didn't I say it before? Although the purpose of coming to Miaojiang this time was to perform a mission, it was also to find Brother Lu. Brother Lu was found, so we called you. Ah. After Aunt Chu heard Yang Ming's words, she couldn't help but cry. For so many years, she had been waiting for news. Even if it was news of death, it would make these 2 old people feel better. Otherwise, if there was no news of life or death, they wouldn't be able to see the person alive and the corpse, which would make them feel uneasy. Big Ming, did you really see your brother Tianqi? Aunt Chu was so excited that she didn't know what to say. Let him talk to you personally. Yang Ming handed the phone to Lu Tianqi, who was eager to try. Mom, it's me. I'm fine, little Jing is also fine, and my godbrother is also fine. We are all together. Lu Tianqi also said very excitedly, Mom, don't worry. As soon as our mission here is over, I will go back. There are not many opportunities to call here. There is such an opportunity by chance. Others are still waiting. I won't talk about it first. Everything will wait until I go back. Lu Tianqi was also afraid that if they stayed in the cave for too long, they would be discovered by the helicopter sent by Elder Yu. Although this possibility was not high, Elder Yu was not interested in their every trip to the valley, and he would not send a helicopter to search the valley, but there was nothing wrong with being careful. Okay, as long as I know that you are safe, it is my biggest comfort. Aunt Chu said, I am so happy. Then your dad and I will wait for you and Big Ming to come back. You have to be careful and support each other. Don't worry, Mom. I have a good relationship with Yang Ming. We have already become sworn brothers. Even without the relationship between you and Dad, we are still brothers. Lu Tianqi said. That's good. Aunt Chu was relieved after listening to Lu Tianqi's words. Then I won't delay your precious time. You let someone else talk. Okay. Although Lu Tianqi was a little bit reluctant, he was not alone. Xiao Jing, Yang Ming, Xia Shui, Feng Tianlong, and Feng Tianlong were all waiting. Lu Tianqi hung up the phone, but Yang Ming didn't fight for it. Instead, he let others call first because he might be the one with the most phone calls. He had to report his safety to his parents, friends, and every woman in the family. It would take a long time, so it wasn't too late for him to call after everyone had finished using their phones. Next, Xia Shui, Lon Ling, Feng Tianlong, and Xiao Susu made a phone call. Xia Shui called Xia Bingbao, and Feng Tianlong and Xiao Susu also called Xia Bingbao, so the three of them only needed to use the phone once. After all, Feng Tianlong had separated from his Feng family. He only had friends in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Xiao Susu had no one else at home, so they could only call Xia Bingbao to tell him that they were safe. Xia Bingbao had no way to deal with everyone's situation. When he learned about Elder Yu's current situation, he had no way. He couldn't blow him up with explosives, right? Even if he was blown up, he might not die. According to Yang Ming, the Jin Gang voodoo could directly crush a boulder with its chest, and it was impervious to fire and water. This was simply abnormal, therefore, after Xia Bingbao reminded everyone to be careful, he could only cheer for everyone in his heart. As for Lin Dongfang and Yi, they had no relatives at all. However, at the request of Yang Ming, Lin Dongfang personally called Guan Shuamin. He planned to tell Guan Shuamin some things about Shin Yushi's treatment and let Guan Shuamin do it first. At least, Shin Yushi's condition would not worsen. Hello, I am Guan Shuamin. Guan Shuamin's plain voice came from the phone. Guan Shuamin, it's me, Lin Dongfang. Lin Dongfang was a person without any arrogance. He was very easygoing, so he was not arrogant in front of Guan Shuamin. Miracle Dr. Lin, is that you? Is it really you? After Guan Shuamin was slightly stunned, he asked in surprise. After all, Guan Shuamin had been guided by Lin Dongfang in his early years. Just once, he benefited a lot. Guan Shuamin wanted to call himself a disciple, but he was afraid that Lin Dongfang would feel that it was inappropriate, so he could only call Lin Dongfang Miracle Dr. Lin. It's me, hee. I am now with Yang Ming. This guy wants me to call you and talk about the condition of his confidant. Lin Dongfang teased Yang Ming. Although Lin Dongfang already knew about the situation between Yang Ming and Shin Yushi, his character was like this. Okay, Miracle Dr. Lin, I am all ears. Guan Xuemin said quickly. Although he was treating Shen Yushi, Lin Dongfang's words could give Guan Xuemin a lot of inspiration. If he encountered a similar condition in the future, it would be easy to solve it. Lin Dongfang told Guan Xuemin some conservative treatment methods, including some prescriptions and the like. Guan Xuemin was very excited when he heard it. Although the two of them were not master and disciple, they were more than master and disciple. At least in Guan Xuemin's heart, he respected Lin Dongfang as a teacher. Thank you for your guidance, Miracle Dr. Lin. I understand. I will follow these instructions. Guan Xuemin recorded the prescriptions and treatment methods as if he had obtained a treasure. It's nothing. If there is a chance, I will discuss medicine with you again. Lin Dongfang was a little emotional. In this life, he was afraid that he would not be able to leave West Star Mountain Village. Discussing medicine with Guan Xuemin had become an unfulfilled promise. However, he couldn't tell Guan Xuemin about these things now. Okay, Miracle Dr. Lin, I am looking forward to it. Guan Xuemin said, oh yeah, Yang Ming, do you want to talk to Yushi? I will give the phone to her. Okay. Yang Ming hesitated for a moment and took the phone. It had been so long. He didn't know how Shen Yushi was doing. To be honest, Yang Ming's feelings for Shen Yushi were more of love and pity than good feelings. However, good feelings were sometimes mysterious. After a lot of contact, there would naturally be good feelings. After not seeing Shen Yushi for a while, Yang Ming would really think of her. Chapter 2173. Speaking of it, Shen Yushi was also a pitiful child. Her background was somewhat low, but Yang Ming had never looked down on her because Yang Ming's previous family was not necessarily better than Shen Yushi's family. His father was an ordinary workshop worker, and his mother was a laid-off female worker who did temporary cleaning work. How similar was this to Shen Yushi's family? Therefore, Yang Ming would not look down on Shen Yushi, nor would he think that she liked him because she wanted to climb up the social ladder. After all, every girl hoped that her future boyfriend would be an accomplished person. In fact, if one looked at it carefully, how similar were Shen Yushi's and Lin Jian's backgrounds? Both of them belonged to the kind of girls who were somewhat stubborn but somewhat introverted. Yang Ming saw Lin Jian's shadow in her, so he took special care of her. In the end, Yang Ming's good impression of her might come partly from his good impression of Lin Jian. Come to think of it, if Wang Jitao's scheme was not in the hotel room, and Lin Jian was not in a coma, then the ending might be similar to Shen Yushi's. With Lin Jian's character, she might have jumped off the building. However, due to a strange combination of circumstances, the fates of the two people were very different. When Yang Ming recalled this matter, sometimes he would feel emotional, so he also took special care of Shen Yushi. Chen Mengyan and others knew about this matter, but they also acquiesced to Yang Ming's approach. After all, they also felt that Shen Yushi was a pitiful person. After picking up the phone, Yang Ming heard Shen Yushi's excited voice, Yang Ming. Ming, is that you? She seemed to not believe that Yang Ming actually called her. And, it's me, Yushi. How are you recently? Yang Ming asked with a smile. I'm very good. Shen Yushi's heart was in a mess. She was really surprised that Yang Ming called her because Yang Ming said before that he was going to perform a mission and couldn't contact the outside world. This time, I found a way to treat your leg. I have told Dr. Guan some of the things that he can do. I will treat the rest personally when I go back. I have learned medical skills. Yang Ming said. Ah. Then you can't come back now. Shen Yushi thought that Yang Ming had completed his mission. Not yet. The things here are not done yet. Yang Ming said, I called you to tell you that I have found a way to cure you. Don't be discouraged. So that you can help me manage the company. NN. After Shin Yushi listened to Yang Ming's words, her eyes lit up with hope again. Although Yang Ming said before that he would definitely find a way to cure her legs, Shin Yushi was happy at that time, but she also understood that this was an unattainable dream. As for Yang Ming's promise that she could help him manage the business in his company in the future, it was something that Shin Yushi didn't even dare to think about, but now, Yang Ming told her personally that there was a way to cure her legs. This made Shin Yushi's heart finally feel at ease. Well, let's not talk about it first. Time is limited. I have to call Meng Yan and the others. Let's talk about everything when I go back. Yang Ming said. Ah. Okay, you haven't called Sister Meng Yan and the others yet. Shin Yushi's eyes suddenly flashed with a strange look. He cares about me. He didn't even call Chen Meng Yan, but he called me first. In an instant, a little happiness rose in Shin Yushi's heart. She couldn't help but be a little dazed. Not yet. I'm about to call. Yushi. After Yang Ming finished speaking, there was no answer from the other side of the phone. He was slightly stunned. Ah. Nothing. Okay, goodbye. Shin Yushi was afraid that Yang Ming would see through her thoughts. She accidentally hung up the phone in a panic. She immediately regretted it. How can I be so stupid? I should have heard Yang Ming say goodbye to me, right? Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. He didn't think much about it before. After all, Yang Ming couldn't see Shin Yushi's expression through the phone. However, when Shin Yushi panicked, Yang Ming immediately guessed her thoughts. However, since Yang Ming guessed it, then he guessed it. Just let her misunderstand. Being happier is also good for her body. What Shin Yushi didn't know was that this phone call was actually made by Lin Dongfang. Yang Ming just took the opportunity to say a few words. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming directly dialed the phone number of his villa. Hello, who are you looking for? Today, it was Sun Jie's turn to clean up. Just as she finished cleaning up the living room, the phone rang. Sun Jie picked up the phone. Generally, it was either Bao Sanli, Zhang Bin, or Tian Donghua who called, so it was the same whoever answered the phone. When Yang Ming heard this familiar voice, he couldn't help but be stunned. This voice, he was too familiar with it. Isn't this Sun Jie's voice? However, the phone number that I dialed was obviously the phone number of my villa. How could Sun Jie run to my villa? Of course, even if Sun Jie went to the villa as a guest, it was possible. However, it was a bit impossible for her to answer the phone as a guest. Sun Jie wasn't that kind of rude person, right? Therefore, for a moment, Yang Ming even thought that he had hung up the wrong phone number. He looked at Sun Sikong suspiciously, but then he shook his head. The high-tech invented by Sun Sikong could even make X-ray glasses. This phone wouldn't be so broken that it could make a serial call. Hello? Who is it? If you don't want to talk, I will hang up. Sun Jie thought it was a harassment call. She listened for a long time and wanted to hang up the phone. Don't hang up. Yang Ming quickly regained his senses and said. Hey. It's you. Sun Jie blinked and put the receiver of the phone in front of her ear. She even suspected that she had heard it wrong. Why does it sound like Yang Ming's voice? Little Jie. Why are you here? Yang Ming's next question completely solved Sun Jie's doubts because, if he asked this question, it must be Yang Ming. Yang Ming. It's you. Is it really you? Sun Jie was a little surprised. In the past 6 months, although everyone didn't say anything and seemed to be living happily together every day, in fact, everyone was avoiding a topic at the same time. That was the progress of Yang Ming's mission. Because there was no news of Yang Ming, the women didn't want to talk about this topic to avoid making everyone unhappy. However, in everyone's heart, they were always thinking about Yang Ming. This also made the people, who were not very harmonious at first, become harmonious because of the common concern. In the past half a year, everyone had really integrated together. Chapter 2174. Of course, all of this was the result of a strange combination of circumstances. Because Yang Ming was gone, this effect was achieved. If Yang Ming was still here, then the women wouldn't be able to quell the jealousy and resentment in their hearts so easily. They would definitely have a big fight with Yang Ming. But now, everyone didn't have the intention to fight. In their opinion, peace was true happiness. Yang Ming could return safely and live with everyone. Then, the rest wasn't important. In fact, the one who had the biggest knot in her heart was Qin Mengyan. As for Yang Ming's other women, Sun Jie, Shao Qing, Zhao Ying, and Wang Xiaoyan, they had long known the existence of Qin Mengyan. Even if they lived together, they wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Even Zhou Jiejie and Lin Jiyun knew about Shao Qing, Jing Xiaolu, and Zhao Ying. So, the only person who was kept in the dark was Qin Mengyan. However, Qin Mengyan was indeed Yang Ming's first girlfriend in the true sense. Although the two of them didn't say the final confession during the hazy years of high school, the intimate relationship between the two of them could be said to be almost no different from that of a couple. Especially after the incident at the cinema, the relationship between the two of them had taken another step forward. Thinking about it, such an intimate thing could only happen between lovers. But later, because of some misunderstandings, there was a crack in the relationship between Qin Mengyan and Yang Ming, which also led to the appearance of Lan Ling at this time. To be honest, Qin Mengyan had some regrets and some helplessness at this time. Although Yang Ming was responsible for all of this, her distrust also played a large part, so she couldn't blame Yang Ming. So, she accepted Lin Jiyun and Lan Ling. As for Zhou Jiejie and Suya later, Qin Mengyan was actually a very kind girl. It was just that the sudden appearance of Sun Jie and others made her have a trace of fear and concern, so she couldn't help but explode. But when Sun Jie took the initiative to give up the fight for the real girlfriend, Qin Mengyan's last trace of nervousness in her heart was also put down and accepted everyone. After all, at this time, whether to accept or not wasn't Qin Mengyan's decision. Lan Ling said that everyone was voodoo. Not only was it not easy to get sick, but it could also keep their appearance forever. So, what was wrong with everyone waiting for Yang Ming? Although Zhao Ying didn't have a voodoo, Zhao Ying insisted on staying after hearing this. Then, Qin Mengyan couldn't persuade her to find another happiness, right? That would seem like Qin Mengyan deliberately. Therefore, after this time of run-in, everyone had become tacit. If Yang Ming saw such a scene, he would probably be happy. When Sun Jie picked up Yang Ming's phone call, she naturally thought of this. However, she didn't want Yang Ming to enjoy the fruits of her labor for no reason. She finally sorted out the relationship with all the women. For this, she even gave up the position of the main concubine in the harem. She couldn't let Yang Ming take advantage of it. At least, she had to let him know that it wasn't easy to get it. Thinking of this, Sun Jie also thought of an excuse and was ready to scare Yang Ming. "It's me, Shao Jie. Why are you in my house? Where are Meng Yan and the others?" Yang Ming asked somewhat strangely. "They were driven out by me. Now, your harem is only left with me, Qing Qing, and Zhao Ying. The others were driven out by us," Sun Jie said faintly. "Ah. Driven out?" Yang Ming was suddenly shocked. His face showed a look of horror. "Shao Jie, what are you talking about? Why did you drive them away? Where are they now? Your matter was exposed." Someone sent a stack of photos to Qin Mengyan. They were photos of you, me, Qing Qing, Zhao Ying, Jing Xiaolu, and others together. There were also photos taken at the hotel. They were all very intimate. So, after Qin Mengyan saw these photos, she called us to come over and settle accounts with us. Sun Jie said. What? Someone sent photos to her. And she also called all of you. Yang Ming's forehead had a trace of cold sweat. He secretly complained in his heart. Yang Ming knew Sun Jie's character. Sun Jie had already said that if Qin Mengyan didn't provoke her, then everyone wouldn't interfere with each other. However, if Qin Mengyan suppressed her with the status of a legitimate girlfriend, she definitely wouldn't be bullied like this. Moreover, Yang Ming knew Sun Jie's means. How could Qin Mengyan be her opponent? If what Sun Jie said was true, then Qin Mengyan and others were driven out of the villa by Sun Jie. That was really possible. After all, Qin Mengyan wasn't Sun Jie's opponent. Maybe she left angrily under Sun Jie's pressure. Thinking of this, Yang Ming suddenly had a big headache. What is this? I just left not long ago, and such a thing happened. It's simply killing me. Yeah, your legitimate girlfriend questioned me and Zhao Ying when she came. Of course, I couldn't stand it, so I pushed them a little, and they all left. I occupied the villa. Sun Jie looked at Qin Mengyan and others who were attracted by the phone call and were walking over here. She blinked her eyes. Qin Mengyan heard Sun Jie's scream before. Naturally, she guessed that the call was from Yang Ming. Later, when she heard Sun Jie intimidating Yang Ming, she couldn't help but laugh, but she didn't expose it. In fact, although she was relieved, she also had the same idea as Sun Jie. She didn't want Yang Ming to get such a big advantage, so she wanted to intimidate him. Sun Jie was just the right person to do this. If she answered the phone just now, she couldn't act so realistically. Maybe she would have blurted out the truth. So Qin Mengyan walked to Sun Jie's side and listened with a smile. God. Yang Ming was really a little dumbfounded. How could Qin Mengyan be Sun Jie's opponent? If she said it nicely, maybe Sun Jie wouldn't care about it. But if she questioned her, then Sun Jie wasn't easy to bully. How could she just let it go? So Yang Ming was really a little helpless at the moment. Who is so wicked? Did he send the photos to me after I left? However, Yang Ming's mind suddenly flashed a figure. He frowned and asked, Little Jie, do you know who sent the photo? Of course, I didn't know at the beginning, but after my investigation, these photos were sent by your good senior, Dong Jun. Sun Jie didn't hide it from Yang Ming. This Dong Jun was still Yang Ming's great benefactor. If he didn't send these photos at such a timely time, the girls wouldn't have reconciled so easily. Sure enough, it's him. After Yang Ming listened to Sun Jie's words, there was no doubt. Chapter 2175. Because it was impossible for Sun Jie to know that Yang Ming and Elder Yu were talking about Dong Jun, they must have thought that Dong Jun and Yang Ming were on the same side. But now that Sun Jie said so, it must be true about this photo. In Yang Ming's opinion, only his senior brother, Dong Jun, could quietly follow him and take a photo. Although Dong Jun did not learn the skills of those assassins, he learned lightness skills from Fang Tian. It could be said that Dong Jun's lightness skills were not below Yang Ming's. It was even better than Yang Ming before he learned the butterfly micro-steps. After all, Dong Jun was a master thief. A master thief could not do without powerful lightness skills. Dong Jun debuted so many years earlier than Yang Ming. It was normal for his lightness skills to be better than Yang Ming's. Yang Ming was in the open while Dong Jun was in the dark. It was easy to secretly take a photo of Yang Ming. Therefore, for this matter, except for Dong Jun, Yang Ming really couldn't think of anyone else who could do this without him being aware of it. Moreover, only Dong Jun, the enemy, would do such a time-consuming thing. As for others, Yang Ming really couldn't think of anyone who would do such a boring thing. After all, if he wanted to take all the photos of him dating all the women, it wouldn't be done in a short period of time. Unless the person had a lot of patience, and at the same time, they must also have a lot of skills. In conclusion, Dong Jun was the only one who fit this criteria. In Yang Ming's view, Dong Jun's patience was very strong. For so many years, Dong Jun had been lurking around Fong Tian without showing any flaws. This patience was not comparable to ordinary people. Moreover, not only that, Dong Jun also had a hatred with Yang Ming. Only he could do this kind of thing, but what was the purpose of him doing this? As Yang Ming thought of this, he couldn't help but have a flash of inspiration in his mind. He suddenly thought of a possibility. That was, perhaps, this photo was not as simple as sending it to Qin Mengyan. Thinking of this, Yang Ming's heart suddenly had a realization. You know it's him? Sun Jia was a little surprised. She didn't expect that not only was Yang Ming not shocked, but he had a clear look as if things were supposed to be like this. This made Sun Jia very curious. You seem to have guessed that it was him. Hee, I guessed it long ago. Yang Ming said faintly, if I'm not mistaken, this senior of mine, Dong Jun, probably wants to send these photos to Meng Yan before I leave. Then, you want to cause trouble in my backyard and delay my schedule so that I can't come to Miaojiang to carry out the mission. Ah, you actually guessed it. Sun Jia was even more surprised. These things had been confirmed from Dong Jun's mouth, but Yang Ming, who was far away in Miaojiang, could actually say it. This made Sun Jia curious. How did he judge it? Oh. Yes, I guessed it. I guessed it a long time ago. Yang Ming said, and there was a trace of bitterness in his smile. I always knew that he wanted to deal with me, but I didn't expect that before I left, he still had such a move. Sigh, I really underestimated him, but I really don't understand, why was he half a beat slower? Why did this thing happen after I left? It is said that he was delayed by the courier company, otherwise, he would have received it long ago, said Sun Jia. Sigh, originally, I planned to let him go, but he created such a big trouble for me. How should I deal with him? Yang Ming sighed. This Dong Jun, it seems that he still doesn't know how to repent. If my backyard is set on fire because of him, then I will just kill him when I go back. Sun Jia wanted to say something, but in the end, she didn't say it. Some things were better to let Yang Ming and Fong Tian communicate in person. She didn't need to pass this message. Since Yang Ming could call her, he would definitely call Fong Tian. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Little Jia, you know what I am most worried about. I came to Miaojiang to carry out the mission this time. The only thing I am worried about is my family and friends, and you, the people I love the most. Sun Jia didn't answer but just snorted. Little Jia, I know that you are a reasonable person. You are also my good wife. You know that if the matter between you and Meng Yan is not resolved, I will not be at ease, so... Yang Ming couldn't continue speaking as he spoke until here. He could only pause for a moment. So what? Asked Sun Jia. So, you can accommodate her. Can you give in to her? I really don't want you to quarrel. I hope that you can get along peacefully. What do you think? Yang Ming could only bite the bullet and say it. Get along peacefully. Do you think it is possible? Sun Jia still didn't answer Yang Ming's words directly and asked. This. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and said, I also know, this is not possible. You are a strong girl, and Meng Yan is my official girlfriend that I personally promised. And you? Sigh, little Jia, can you suffer first? I will compensate you after I go back. Compensate? How do you compensate? Sun Jia held back her smile and asked with a straight face, why should I be wronged? Why don't you let others be wronged? Compensate. How do you want to compensate? Yang Ming didn't know how to compensate, so he could only ask Sun Jia herself. I won't do it. Sun Jia snorted and said, I won't be wronged. If I want to be wronged, let Sister Meng Yan and the others be wronged. Yang Ming just sighed, but suddenly he was stunned again. Sister Meng Yan. What did you call her? Yeah. Sun Jia didn't expect that she actually blurted it out. During this time, she called Qin Mengyan as Sister Mengyan, but she accidentally blurted it out. However, Sun Jia also secretly thought that Yang Ming's intuition was too sharp. He could find the problem at once. This little man had finally grown up. He was no longer the little boy who had to ask her for advice on everything. He had matured and could hold up the sky. And she no longer had to worry about him. It was enough for her to stay behind him with peace of mind and help him deal with the matters at home. Sun Jia's surprise finally made Qin Mengyan and the others couldn't help it. It wasn't known who laughed first. Then, everyone couldn't help but laugh until they died. Yang Ming listened to the laughter on the phone, and his heart suddenly relaxed. It seems that my guess is not wrong. Sun Jia and Meng Yan should be together, and they get along very well. Sun Jia just wanted to scare me, but she accidentally blurted it out first. Chapter 2176. Meng Yan and the others are all here. Are you using the speakerphone? Yang Ming listened to the laughter on the other side of the phone, and there was a feeling of happiness in his heart. They actually get along well. And they live under the same roof. If we weren't worried about you and were afraid that something would happen to you, do you think we can be so united? Well, since you have heard it, then let our harem master, Sister Meng Yan, talk to you. After Sun Jia said this, she couldn't help but laugh. Moreover, she did use the speakerphone because Sun Jia saw Qin Meng Yan and the others coming over, so she automatically switched to the speakerphone to let them hear Yang Ming's embarrassed look. She believed that everyone was a little unhappy that Yang Ming could sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' work. Now that she scared him like this, everyone's heart was comfortable. In the future, they would not make things difficult for Yang Ming because of this matter. In fact, Sun Jia did this for the overall consideration. She was a smart person and knew how to deal with this matter. If she didn't make this joke, even if Qin Mengyan and the others came to pick up the phone, even if they didn't say anything, after everyone knew that Yang Ming was safe and sound, they wouldn't be as happy as before. However, Sun Jia's acting made everyone feel better. It also made Yang Ming suffer some punishment, so he could understand everyone's painstaking efforts. What harem master? Sister Sun Jia, didn't we agree that we would discuss and make decisions together? Qin Mengyan was a little embarrassed. Although this harem master was an empty title, when Sun Jia said this, Qin Mengyan's heart suddenly surged with a feeling of happiness. It made her feel that there was nothing wrong with accepting Sun Jia and the others. Especially in front of Yang Ming, Sun Jia also said this. In fact, she indicated to Yang Ming that she was willing to give the position to Qin Mengyan, and she would not compete in the future. It had to be said that Sun Jia's scheming was the most powerful among these women. She resolved conflicts invisibly. Yang Ming was far away on the other side of the phone. At this moment, he also understood some of Sun Jia's intentions. He was very grateful in his heart. If there was no Sun Jia, Qin Mengyan and others would not be able to get along so well. Now, with Sun Jie's words, the relationship between the sisters would be better in the future. Chen Mengyan wouldn't do anything to bully others because of her identity. Yang Ming, I am Mengyan. Don't listen to Sister Sun Jie's nonsense. We are now taking turns to be in charge. Everyone is responsible for everyone's life for a few days. Sister Sun Jie is responsible for these days. She is the master of the harem. Although Chen Mengyan said so, she also understood in her heart that she couldn't escape the identity of the real girlfriend. Since she couldn't escape, she might as well make everyone happy. Yang Ming listened to Chen Mengyan's words and almost burst with joy. Before he left, his biggest unsolved wish was to deal with the relationship between these women properly. He didn't expect that after he left, Dong Jun added fuel to the fire and helped him a lot. Thinking about it, the women were worried about his safety. It was impossible for them to quarrel endlessly. After the quarrel, with Sun Jie's mediation, it wouldn't be a problem for everyone to be united. Thinking of this, Yang Ming's heart was sincerely grateful to Sun Jie. She is really a good helper for me. Yang Ming really wanted to laugh a few times and jump on the ground. Mengyan, thank you for your understanding. Thank you. I am really grateful. Yang Ming said happily. He was happy from the bottom of his heart. The biggest knot in his heart was untied, so Yang Ming could wait here to fight with Elder Yu without any worries. Grateful. If it weren't because we were afraid that you would be worried about your family's affairs while performing a mission outside, do you think we could let you go so easily? Chen Mengyan said, if it weren't for Sister Sun Jie's generosity, you would be in trouble. I know that you are the most tolerant. I am very happy to know that you are all very harmonious. I will definitely rush back as soon as possible and meet up with you all. Yang Ming said happily, Mengyan, you can rest assured. I will not let you all down in my life. Now it's not the problem of you letting us down. It's that we don't want you yet. Chen Mengyan snorted and said, we are living happily together now. We feel that it is the same with or without you. Ugh. Yang Ming suddenly broke into a sweat. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Mengyan, don't say that. Aren't you discouraging me by saying this? At that time, I will just fight to the death with the enemy. Anyway, I have nothing to worry about. Don't. I am joking with you. Chen Mengyan was shocked and quickly changed her words. Yang Ming, I am just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. Everyone is looking forward to your return. Actually, I am also joking. Yang Ming smiled. Okay, you lied to me. Chen Mengyan realized that she was deceived by Yang Ming. It seemed that she was still too inexperienced. Her deceiving skills were not as good as Sun Jie's. At least Sun Jie did scare Yang Ming before, but now, she didn't deceive Yang Ming. This way, I know your intention. Isn't that good? Yang Ming asked instead. Well, I won't talk to you anymore. Let Sister Lin and the others talk to you. Chen Mengyan glanced at the women who were all looking forward to it. She couldn't help but shake her head. Sometimes, as the master of the harem, it was also a bit of a headache. At this time, she had to be magnanimous. She couldn't keep holding the phone, lest others say that she was narrow-minded. On Yang Ming's side, he talked to the women one by one. When he heard their voices, he knew that they got along very well. Yang Ming's heart was very comforted. This feeling made him feel very at ease. Finally, he didn't have to worry about the backyard at home. However, when he was talking to Wang Xiaoyan hinted to Yang Ming, you should call uncle later. He may have something to say to you. Dong Jun's matter was better left to Fang Tian and Yang Ming. After all, it was Yang Ming's own grievances. Even Wang Xiaoyan could only be regarded as an outsider. It wasn't appropriate for her to say anything, so she simply didn't say anything, so as not to interfere with Yang Ming's judgment. Oh. Okay. Although Yang Ming didn't know why Wang Xiaoyan said this, Yang Ming did have the intention to call Fang Tian, so he immediately nodded and agreed. After talking to Chen Mengyan and the others, Yang Ming called his parents, Zhang Bin, and Bao Somli respectively to tell them that he was fine and not to worry too much. After that, Yang Ming dialed Fang Tian's phone number. Chapter 2177. Hello. At this moment, Fang Tian was like an ordinary retired old man. He stayed at home every day, drinking tea, reading newspapers, listening to the radio and watching TV. He lived a very leisurely life. Fang Tian's neighbors didn't know that this old man who looked very kind was once the famous king of assassins. It's me. Yang Ming said straightforwardly. Yang Ming. Have you completed your mission? Fang Tian's face flashed with joy, but he still asked calmly. No, we are now trapped in a valley. It's just a coincidence that I can call you. Maybe there won't be this opportunity in the future. Yang Ming was not wrong. After all, it was impossible to come to such a far place to make a call in the future. If he often came here, it was easy to be suspected by Elder Yu. It would be inappropriate if Elder Yu found out at that time. Oh. Then make it short. Tell me what happened and what I can help with. Fang Tian was worthy of being one of the people who understood Yang Ming the most. He didn't talk nonsense and said straightforwardly. There is nothing for the time being. I just want to tell you that I am safe. As Yang Ming said, he briefly told Fang Tian what happened after he arrived in Miaojiang. In the end, Yang Ming was silent and said, Master, there is one more thing. I don't know how to tell you. What is it? Fang Tian was slightly stunned. He seemed to have guessed something, but he still asked calmly. It's about my senior, Dong Jun. Yang Ming said, Master, are there any outsiders near you? No, you can say it. Fang Tian was shocked. It turned out that Yang Ming really noticed Dong Jun's problem, but he still asked normally on the surface. Master, I am afraid that the person who has been targeting me over the years is him. As Yang Ming said, he told Fang Tian in detail about what he had encountered over the years and the analysis of Elder Yu. Oh. The person who has been targeting you is him. Fang Tian's tone was still very plain. You guessed it. Not bad, not simple. Master, why don't you look shocked at all? The expression on Yang Ming's face became a little strange. You already knew about this before. I have been guessing, but it has never been confirmed. Fang Tian said, until a while ago, this matter was really confirmed. Oh. You were also guessing before. Yang Ming was a little surprised. I was just guessing before, until a few things happened recently, I was sure. That person is him, my senior brother Dong Jun. I have long suspected it. Fang Tian said, I suspected it earlier than you, but I didn't expect you to suspect it too. Why didn't you tell me before? Before, I only suspected it in my heart, but I didn't want to believe that the person who targeted me was my senior brother Dong Jun. Yang Ming said with a bitter smile, because he was very good to me. He introduced me to the sect, and during my training, he was busy for me. I really didn't want to believe that he was the person who targeted me behind the scenes. However, until a few days ago, I confirmed this matter through Elder Yu's mouth, so you didn't say it? But do you know that even if you didn't say it, there were a few times when you were in danger and almost lost your life? Asked Fang Tian. I know, but I treated these as a kind of training. Although it was dangerous, it could allow me to grow in danger. Since there weren't so many opportunities for me to train, having a person who is always targeting me can also help me grow quickly," said Yang Ming. "Ha ha ha ha." Fong Tian laughed after listening to Yang Ming's words. It seemed that Yang Ming's thoughts were exactly the same as his. Although he suspected Dong Jun, the reason why he didn't intervene was that he wanted to train Yang Ming. If the knife wasn't sharpened, it wouldn't be sharp. If the jade wasn't carved, it wouldn't be useful. Only a small sapling that experienced wind and rain could grow strong and eventually become a towering tree. What are you laughing at? Could it be that you think so too? Yang Ming heard Fong Tian's laughter as if he had guessed something. Yes. Fong Tian nodded and said, "My thoughts are similar to yours. I want to train you." So, I turned a blind eye to his matters before, but when I knew that he was the one who did these things, I couldn't tolerate it. Then, "Master, how are you going to deal with him?" asked Yang Ming after a moment of silence. "I'll listen to your opinion." Fong Tian said, "You're the person involved. You say what should be done." "Master, can I ask how you determined that the person who dealt with me was senior apprentice brother Dong Jun? I heard Sun Jia say before that he sent them a package of photos. I didn't ask carefully at that time, but I think he wouldn't be stupid enough to write his own name when he sent the letter, right?" asked Yang Ming. "Me? That's how I found out." As Fong Tian spoke, he explained how he knew about Dong Jun to Yang Ming. In this, the biggest credit was Yang Ming's women. If it weren't for them, Fong Tian couldn't be sure that the person who dealt with Yang Ming was Dong Jun. "I didn't expect it to be them." Yang Ming was a little surprised, but he finally understood why the women merged together so quickly. It turned out that they had a common goal and common expectations. They worked together to find the behind-the-scenes mastermind who dealt with him, and they were also looking forward to his return. Thinking of their silent support behind him, Yang Ming's heart was moved. He swore that he would treat them well. It's them. I didn't expect that there would be a very powerful person among them." Fong Tian sighed. "When you were there, they didn't show off, but once you left, the power they displayed together wasn't small. But I'm very gratified. My biggest problem is solved." Yang Ming smiled and said, "So, it seems that I have to thank senior apprentice brother Dong Jun. If it weren't for him, Meng Yan and the others wouldn't be able to unite so quickly and face a common enemy. Let's not talk about this. Tell me, how do you want to deal with your senior apprentice brother?" As Fong Tian spoke until here, his words suddenly became sharp. "If you don't want to see him, I will make him disappear. After you come back, there will be no such person." Chapter 2178. Yang Ming's heart was very contradictory at this moment. After listening to Fong Tian's words, he felt a little sad. Yang Ming was a person who cherished old friendships. If it wasn't a last resort, Yang Ming wouldn't do anything to hurt his friends. Even if these friends betrayed him, if they could repent, Yang Ming would still choose to forgive them. Tian Donghua, Tian Long, and Wang Shuai were the same. Gui Jianchao was also the same. Even Zhou Jijia and Jing Xiaolu, who had a little misunderstanding with him, had become Yang Ming's women at this moment. Yang Ming also chose to forgive Gu Xinyao, who had bullied Lin Jiyun. Therefore, if Dong Jun really repented, Yang Ming might give him a chance to turn over a new leaf. "Why? Are you hesitating?" asked Fong Tian. "Yes, I am indeed hesitant." Yang Ming said, "Master, does senior apprentice brother Dong Jun know about this matter? Did you have a showdown with him? Why? Is this very important?" Fong Tian asked in return. "It's very important. Yang Ming said solemnly, I want to know his attitude. If he has remorse and is willing to admit the mistakes he made in the past and turn over a new leaf, then I think we can give him a chance. Yang Ming, you are still too soft-hearted. Feng Tian sighed and said, You are not a successful assassin, but you are a successful apprentice and a junior apprentice. Is there a difference? An assassin doesn't have to be cold-blooded and ruthless, right? Yang Ming said with a smile, Sometimes, forgiveness is also a correct approach. After all, he is my senior apprentice brother. If I inherit the position of the king of assassins, then he is my junior apprentice brother. For a junior apprentice brother, shouldn't I be more tolerant? However, what I want to know is why he is targeting me. Is there a reason and a reason? If there is a reason that can be explained, then master, I want to give him a chance. Alright, since that's the case, I'll tell you the whole story. Feng Tian nodded and said, Then, you can make a conclusion after listening to it. If you think he should be forgiven, then forgive him. If you think he shouldn't be forgiven, just tell me. You've grown up, so I'll leave this matter to you. Okay, go ahead. Yang Ming nodded and said. It's like this. As Feng Tian spoke, he told the ins and outs of the matter to Yang Ming in detail. The reason why he said it in detail was to let Yang Ming understand the whole process of why Dong Jun dealt with Yang Ming. This would allow Yang Ming to clearly and objectively judge whether Dong Jun was wrong, how much wrong he was, and how much responsibility he had to bear. Yang Ming quietly listened to Feng Tian's explanation. At the beginning, he heard that Dong Jun had made a move on him because he couldn't inherit the title of King of Assassins because of his appearance. This made Yang Ming very angry. Since you don't want me to join, why did you invite me? However, later on, Yang Ming also understood that Dong Jun couldn't reverse his appearance. Feng Tian had taken a fancy to him. In order not to give himself away, Dong Jun could only let him become Feng Tian's disciple. Of course, when Yang Ming heard about Central and Dr. Benjamin, Yang Ming's eyes widened and his mouth dropped. Central. Dr. Benjamin. Yang Ming's memory of these two names was still fresh. When he was in Europe, Yang Ming had a conflict with the Douglas family in order to save Wang Songshan, so he fought with a person named Jetson. After that, in Las Vegas with Liu Yezi, he once again met a person named Kevin. He also had the invulnerable body of Jean Gang like Jetson. From their mouths, they said two names. One was Central, and the other was Dr. Benjamin. It could be said that even without Dong Jun's matter, Yang Ming and Central had already formed a grudge. Of course, if Central did not continue to trouble Yang Ming would not bother with them. After all, Yang Ming's central stronghold was not under the jurisdiction of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and it had nothing to do with his own Island X. Why would Yang Ming worry so much about Central and Dr. Benjamin? However, when Feng Tian talked about the grievances between Dong Jun and Central and Dr. Benjamin's purpose, a burst of anger suddenly surged in Yang Ming's heart. This Dr. Benjamin actually wants to find Suya and Dr. Sun Sikong. It's fine if he wants to find Dr. Sun Sikong. Sun Sikong is a scientist whose scientific and technological means are not inferior to mine. Even if he is found, he will not suffer. But Suya. In this case, Yang Ming can't ignore it. Moreover, Dong Jun also explained his thoughts and purpose. Yang Ming did not have as much hatred for him as before. After all, Dong Jun was also a pitiful person. If Yang Ming was in his shoes, he might do something irrational, and Alice is actually his sister. This made Yang Ming a little dumbfounded. Although Yang Ming had long felt that there was a problem with Alice, he did not associate her with Dong Jun. However, it turned out that they were actually family. Moreover, Dong Jun actually pleaded in front of Feng Tian. Even if Feng Tian could not spare him, he asked Fong Tian to protect his sister. Just this sentence made Yang Ming's heart soften. Yeah, who doesn't want to protect someone? For the freedom of his sister, Dong Jun was willing to die. At this moment, Yang Ming also forgave Dong Jun for what he had done before. If it were me, I might do something to hurt others for Chen Mengyan and the others. This is human nature. Why? Is there a problem? Fong Tian also heard the strangeness in Yang Ming's tone, so he asked. There is a problem. It's more than a problem. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and said, for Central and Dr. Benjamin, this is not the first time I have heard of it. Not only that, but I have also fought with the masters from Central. Oh. Masters from Central. Fong Tian was slightly stunned and asked. Yes. Yang Ming said, Dr. Benjamin is a very powerful person. He can actually turn ordinary people into iron men and become invulnerable. Do you remember when I saved Wang Songshan's father-in-law in Europe? Oh. Is it that time? You fought with Dr. Benjamin's people? Asked Fong Tian. Yes, it's that time. Yang Ming said and told Fong Tian the situation at that time in detail. He was afraid that Wang Xiaoyan and the others would be worried after hearing it. At that time, the Lancer family had been completely destroyed by Yang Ming, so Yang Ming did not say much. But now, for Fong Tian, Yang Ming told the story in detail. Chapter 2179. Back then, when you went to rescue Wang Songshan, it was actually so dangerous. Fong Tian widened his eyes and said to Yang Ming incredulously, I didn't expect you to come up with such a way to lure Jetson into the boiler and burn him directly. Another time, when I was in Las Vegas, I met a person named Kevin. He was also from Central. He was Dr. Benjamin's masterpiece. Like Jetson, he was also invulnerable. That time, it was also extremely dangerous, but I finally killed him. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Another time, when I was in Las Vegas, I met a person named Kevin. He was also from Central. This time, Yang Ming used his special ability, but Fong Tian didn't know about his special ability. Yang Ming couldn't say too much on the phone. He could only tell Fong Tian about it when he returned. Therefore, Yang Ming only briefly talked about his experience this time and didn't go into too much detail. Fortunately, Fong Tian didn't ask much. He just nodded and said, So, you want to let Dong Jun go? Yes, since he has repented, why don't we give him a chance? Yang Ming said, and Dr. Benjamin also wants to make a move on Suya, so I have no reason to keep him. Anyway, I have decided to be Dr. Benjamin's enemy, so senior brother Dong Jun and I are like brothers in the trenches. I think it's better to cooperate with him. After all, he knows much more about Dr. Benjamin than I do, so it's not impossible to let him join in and deal with Dr. Benjamin together. We can also increase our chances of winning. Hee, I knew you would let him go. Fong Tian sighed with a smile. This is also the reason why I kept him and didn't kill him. Master, you know me well. Yang Ming smiled embarrassedly. Well, I will tell Dong Jun what you mean and let him feel at ease. During this time, collect more information about Dr. Benjamin. After you come back, you will be busy again. Said Fong Tian. Elder Yu over there hasn't finished dealing with it yet, and here we are thinking about dealing with Dr. Benjamin again. Looks like. I really can't stay idle. Yang Ming said somewhat helplessly. Sometimes, the plan was really not as fast as changes. Originally, Yang Ming wanted to kill Elder Yu this time. After completing the mission, he would go to Island X to live in seclusion and live a happy life with his girlfriends, but now, it seemed that if he did not get rid of Dr. Benjamin, he would always be a hidden danger. There was a saying, don't be afraid of thieves stealing, but be afraid of thieves remembering. Dr. Benjamin had been there to capture Suya. How could Yang Ming tolerate this ticking time bomb being there all the time? Therefore, even without Dong Jun, Yang Ming would still have to deal with Dr. Benjamin. However, it seemed that although Dr. Benjamin was powerful, Yang Ming could still deal with the steel men under him. After all, those steel men had weaknesses, just like Tianlong. As long as he could find their weaknesses, he could deal with them. Unlike Elder Yu, who was invulnerable, and no weakness could be found. Everyone had tried so many ways to deal with Elder Yu, but none of them were effective. You are a character who can't stay idle. A life that is too comfortable is not suitable for you. Always find something to do. Life also has passion. Fong Tian laughed. Well, let's not talk about it first. There are other people waiting to call here. Let's stop here first. I will go back and study Dr. Benjamin in detail, said Yang Ming. Okay, said Fong Tian. Protect your own safety. I understand. Yang Ming smiled and remembered a sentence that Fong Tian said when he first taught him the assassin course. The purpose of an assassin was to complete the goal, not to fight head-on with people. If he couldn't win, he would run away. It was not shameful. As long as there was life, there was hope. If he really fought to his death, not only would he not get a reward, but he would also lose his life in vain. This was also a hint to Yang Ming not to fight head-on with Elder Yu, but sometimes, when things had reached this point, it was no longer Yang Ming himself who had the final say. Hanging up the phone, Yang Ming looked at Sun Sikong strangely, and Sun Sikong also looked at Yang Ming strangely. Because Yang Ming mentioned the name of Central and Dr. Benjamin on the phone, Sun Sikong was very surprised. He didn't expect Yang Ming to have actually fought with them. Yang Ming heard from Fong Tian that Dr. Benjamin was also looking for Dr. Sun Sikong in addition to looking for Suya, so Yang Ming was also very surprised. Yang Ming and Sun Sikong spoke almost at the same time, but Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. Grandpa's son, you should speak first. You are the elder. Well, then I'll speak first. Sun Sikong nodded and said, Yang Ming, you know Dr. Benjamin and have fought with his men. Yes. Yang Ming didn't hide it. This time, he explained in more detail to Yang Ming than he did on the phone just now because his glasses were given to him by Dr. Sun Sikong. Sun Sikong knew the effects of the glasses very well, so Yang Ming also explained the special abilities. In the end, he said strangely, Grandpa's son, can't you receive the signal from the glasses? Didn't you know that I fought with Jetson, Kevin, and the others before? I can receive the signal, but I can't receive the specific image. I said that I can only find out the purpose of the things you use the glasses for, such as saving your life, gambling, peeking at the campus bell, or peeking at the delinquent girl taking a bath. Said Sun Sikong. Ahem. Yang Ming's face suddenly turned red from Sun Sikong's words. He had only used the glasses to peek a few times, and they were all his own women. He could see without peeking, but he was a little embarrassed when he was exposed. Bro, I didn't expect you to be so wretched. Lu Yezi laughed. Ugh. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about the main point first. Yang Ming's face was even redder, but he shook his head to hide it. He ignored Lu Yezi and pretended to be calm. Grandpa's son, what hatred do you have with that Dr. Benjamin? Why does he want to deal with you and Suya? What grudges do you have? I'm a little baffled when it comes to Central that suddenly appeared. Sun Sikong smiled bitterly and began to slowly tell Yang Ming about his grudges with Central. Lu Yezi didn't know some of these things, so Lu Yezi also widened his eyes at this moment and listened attentively to Sun Sikong's narration. Chapter 2180. When I first came here, I was actually with Imo Kongwen to protect little Yezi. But inexplicably, a place called Center appeared, and Dr. Benjamin was targeting me. Sun Sikong recounted his strange experience. When Yezi's father left, he also moved his technology group to an alien planet. Almost nothing was left here, so it was impossible for there to be any remaining enemies. But this Dr. Benjamin really appeared inexplicably, and after he appeared, he began to target me everywhere. I disguised as a scavenger in Songjiang City and had a good relationship with a little girl. Because of me, the little girl was implicated. I don't know how she is now. Sun Sikong sighed and said, I feel a little ashamed when I think about it. Don't you know about her? Yang Ming was stunned and asked strangely, doesn't she also have a pair of glasses? Can't you receive a message from the glasses? Although she also has glasses, her eyes are the first generation of immature products. They don't have the function of transmitting information. Your glasses are the second generation of mature products, so they have this function. Sun Sikong said, I was going to give this pair of glasses to the people around little Yezi, so it can also play a role in protecting little Yezi, but at that time, Mo Kongwen chose you. Do you really think that I have nothing better to do than to set up a stall in front of your school? Ugh! Could it be? When Yang Ming heard this, he suddenly looked at Mo Kongwen in shock. He knew that Mo Kongwen was a god. Could it be that Mo Kongwen had already predicted that I would appear beside Lu Yezi and become his friend? Yes, I have already calculated today's karma before. Mo Kongwen smiled slightly and nodded to Yang Ming, so, this pair of glasses will appear on you. Yang Ming listened to the conversation between the two and suddenly realized. It turned out to be like this. No wonder he felt strange before. Since Sun Sikong was a Ph.D. in science, he was so powerful that he could even invent a flying saucer. Why would he set up a stall? But now, it seemed that there was a reason for his actions. If he hadn't become Lu Yezi's teammate and appeared by Lu Yezi's side in several dangerous missions, he probably wouldn't have given the glasses to him. I see. Yang Ming nodded. But I'm a little curious. Yang Ming, how did you know that the little girl also had a pair of glasses? Could it be that you know her, and you have shared each other's secrets? Sun Sikong said strangely, aren't you afraid that you will leak each other's secrets? Grandpa Sun, the girl you are talking about is called Suya, right? Yang Ming smiled bitterly and said, at first, I thought that you gave me the glasses because of Suya. But now it seems that it's not as simple as I thought. Because of the relationship with Suya. Sun Sikong frowned. Why do you say so? Because Suya is my girlfriend. Yang Ming sweated. She is my first love, it can't be such a coincidence, right? Sun Sikong was also very surprised. So, I actually gave these two glasses to a couple by accident. Ha 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 ha, there must be an effect if there is a cause. This is the so-called karma. Mo Kongwen laughed. Although I didn't calculate it so carefully, in the hexagram, Yang Ming was indeed the most suitable person to get the glasses. Not only because he would become a friend of the little master, but he also met some other conditions. However, those were not important to my original intention at the time, so I didn't continue to calculate. It turned out to be like this. Sun Sikong smiled and said, Suya, are you okay now? Of course, she is okay. Her current identity is the big star, Shuya. Yang Ming didn't have to hide it from Sun Sikong, so he said it truthfully. What? Big star, Shuya. Sun Sikong hadn't spoken yet, but Xia Shui jumped up excitedly. Yang Ming, is what you said true? Shuya is actually Suya. No, I saw Suya when I was at the beach. She and the big star, Shuya, are two completely different people. Her glasses can change her appearance. Yang Ming said and demonstrated it himself. Immediately, Yang Ming's face turned into Lu Yezi's appearance, which shocked Xia Shui. Yeah, this pair of glasses is so powerful. Xia Shui looked at Yang Ming in front of her incredulously and exclaimed, not only can it see through things, but it can also change appearances. Yeah, so, the big star, Suya, is Suya after changing her appearance. Yang Ming nodded and restored his original appearance. So this is the case. If I knew that you could change your appearance, would have let you disguise as Elder Yu's underling and kill him silently. Why bother? Xia Shui complained with some sigh. I also wanted to, but at the beginning, before we fought, who knew that he would be so difficult to deal with? Yang Ming smiled bitterly and said, when we really fought, we were deceived by him once. It was too late to use other tricks. I said that everything has a cause and effect, so don't regret it. Mo Kongwen interrupted with a smile. If you dealt with Elder Yu directly, would you still see us? That's true. Yang Ming nodded and agreed. If you had dealt with Elder Yu directly back then, would Little Master have met Yi? Mr. Yang Ming, would you meet Mr. Lu Tianqi? Mo Kongwen continued. Yeah. You're right. There is a cause and effect. Although Yang Ming didn't quite understand Mo Kongwen's words, he had to admit that his words were still very reasonable. It turns out that Suya is Suya. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I should have asked her for an autograph at that time. Xia Shui said with some regret. Are you her fan? Yang Ming looked at Xia Shui strangely. Yeah, I like her very much. Xia Shui nodded and said, when I was in school, I liked her very much. Then, you can see her every day. If you want an autograph or a group photo, you can be her child's stepmother or she can be your child's aunt. It's up to you, said Yang Ming. Xia Shui was slightly stunned, and then her face suddenly turned red. She understood Yang Ming's meaning. When the mission was over, they would leave the valley together. Then, wouldn't she follow Yang Ming to live in seclusion in Island X? At that time, Suya would definitely go with them. Wouldn't they be able to see each other every day? Chapter 2181. Annoying. Xia Shui couldn't help but scold. But thinking of being sisters with a big star, Xia Shui also felt that it was amazing. She just didn't expect that the beautiful girl she met at the beach was the big star, Shuya. If I knew earlier, I would have asked her for an autograph. But when I thought that I could live with Shuya for a long time in the future, why would I need an autograph? Wouldn't it be a joke to others? Thinking of this, Xia Shui closed her mouth again and no longer mentioned this matter. Right, Grandpa's son, you haven't said. How did you become enemies with Central and Dr. Benjamin? Why are they targeting you? Yang Ming smiled at Xia Shui and turned to look at Sun Sikong. I said that I also thought it was very strange. Sun Sikong said, when I was in Songjiang City, I was doing my scientific experiments in peace, but suddenly, I was found by a person named Benjamin. This person was looking for me by name, which made me feel very strange. How does this person know about you? And how does he know that you are in Songjiang City? Asked Yang Ming strangely. I don't know. Sun Sikong smiled bitterly. Although I'm not afraid of him, the technological products I brought this time are limited. I'm not his opponent, so I don't want to have a head-on conflict with them. I just don't know why, but they just keep an eye on me. They have been inquiring about my whereabouts all these years. It seems that they have to find me. This is really strange. Is this Dr. Benjamin crazy? Why does he have to find you for no reason? Yang Ming listened to Sun Sikong's words and felt that it was a bit incredible. Is it because of the glasses you invented? There is this possibility, but it seems that it is not only this possibility because Dr. Benjamin should also be a great scientist, but he just used his energy to study human potential. The steel man you said is his research direction, said Sun Sikong. Research direction. According to my current observation, he seems to be a biochemist, said Yang Ming. Biochemist. Biochemist. Sun Sikong didn't know why he suddenly thought of a person in his mind, but he shook his head and threw this idea away. It seemed unlikely because he should have no contact with Dr. Benjamin, and Dr. Benjamin was a foreigner. Yeah, isn't the steel man a kind of biochemist? Yang Ming said, in fact, Elder, you can basically be regarded as a biochemist because he has exceeded the category of normal people. This is true, said Sun Sikong, but if you want to deal with Dr. Benjamin, maybe I can help. I can help you, but the factor. After all, excluding the factor of strength, scientific knowledge is also a key factor. Thank you, Grandpa's son. Yang Ming was overjoyed after listening to Sun Sikong's words. With the guidance of this scientific doctor, he had more confidence. Why? If. Okay, then it's a deal. Yang Ming nodded and said, when the things here are over, I will definitely ask you for advice when I deal with Dr. Benjamin. At that time, send a signal to me through your glasses, or let Xiao Yezi send a signal through the jade pendant. I will look for you, said Sun Sikong. Oh. My glasses. They can send signals. How do I do it? Asked Yang Ming. As long as you think about it, I can receive it. Sun Sikong smiled and said, every message from your glasses will be transmitted and processed in my computer, but I can set a keyword reminder. For example, if you think my name 3 times, Sun Sikong, Sun Sikong, Sun Sikong, the computer will give an alarm. As Sun Sikong said this, he took the computer keyboard and entered some commands that Yang Ming couldn't understand. Then, he said, now you can try it. Oh. So magical. Yang Ming closed his eyes and said Sun Sikong's name 3 times in his heart. Sure enough, the computer next to Sun Sikong issued an alarm prompt. On the computer screen, 3 names of Sun Sikong were displayed. It's just a simple information transmission system. Sun Sikong didn't have any proud expression. He just explained casually. Well, I'm done with my phone call. This time, it's Yezi's turn to call, right? Yang Ming was a little embarrassed to hold the phone for so long. Me? Can I make a call? Lu Yezi was slightly stunned. Yes, but, according to the rules set by the old master, little master, you are not allowed to contact your family before you complete the experience, so, we can't do anything about it. Mo Kongwen smiled bitterly and said, of course, if you are not afraid of the old master scolding you, you can try, then, forget it. Lu Yezi shook his head quickly. I won't make this call. Ha! Sun Sikong smiled and said, it's not that serious. When your mission is over, maybe the old master will take the initiative to contact you and let you go back. Go back. Lu Yezi was slightly stunned. He looked at the people around him, and there was a trace of reluctance in his eyes. Lu Yezi, it's okay. Don't be sad. You can think about these things later. You have to go back eventually, but now is not the time to think about this. Yang Ming smiled and said, the most important thing for us now is still in front of us. That's true. Lu Yezi nodded and left the trace of reluctance in his heart behind. Since Yezi can't make a call, then let's go back. We have been here for a long time. Don't let Elder you find anything wrong, said Yang Ming. Okay. Everyone nodded in agreement. Grandpa's son, Mr. Mo, we will leave first. See you after this matter is over. Yang Ming called Sun Sikong Grandpa's son because Sun Sikong was Yang Ming's elder, so he and Liu Yezi were naturally in the same generation. But for Mo Kongwen, he could only call him Mr. Mo. After all, he called Liu Yezi master, so he could only be regarded as the same generation as Yang Ming. Okay, you guys be careful. See you later. Sun Sikong nodded and said. Grandpa's son, Mo Kongwen, goodbye. After Liu Yezi finished speaking, he turned and left with Yang Ming. Chapter 2182. Yang Ming, wait a minute. Sun Sikong walked out of the cave and called out to Yang Ming and others. Oh. Is there anything else? Yang Ming turned around when he heard the voice. He looked at Sun Sikong in the cave strangely. He didn't know what else Sun Sikong wanted. Yang Ming, although I can't help you much, I can help you modify these two battery-powered vehicles. The speed and safety of these battery-powered vehicles are too poor. However, with a simple modification, it can allow you to go back and forth in the valley several times a day. If you really need to contact the outside world, you don't have to drive so many battery-powered vehicles here, said Sun Sikong. Sun Sikong said. Oh. Yang Ming was overjoyed when he heard it. This was a good thing. Although it wasn't of much use for the time being, it was really like what Sun Sikong said. If they still needed to contact the outside world, they could drive here quickly. They didn't have to drive for so many days. This also ensured the secrecy and wouldn't be discovered by Elder Yu. So, he quickly said, that's great. Then, I'll have to trouble Grandpa's son. No problem. Sun Sikong smiled and said, come and do me a favor. It only takes half an hour to complete it. Okay. I will do whatever you say. Yang Ming nodded and said. Next, Sun Sikong took out two small things like circuit boards from the flying saucer and took out some parts that Yang Ming didn't know. He began to modify Yang Ming's electric scooter. Yang Ming, Liu Yezi, and others helped him. Sure enough, as Sun Sikong said, the modification of the electric scooter was completed in half an hour. According to Sun Sikong, a driving computer and a body stabilization system were installed. It was much safer than the previous electric scooter. It's done. Sun Sikong patted the dust on his hands and said to Yang Ming, it's done. But you have to fasten your seatbelt. Although I know that you are invulnerable after eating Jean Gang's voodoo, there is still a pregnant woman in the car. Don't worry, Grandpa Sunday. We will be careful. Yang Ming said with a smile. After Yang Ming and others said goodbye to Sun Sikong and Mo Kongwen again, they got on the battery-powered vehicle. There was no need to explore this place anymore because there were cliffs in front of the valley. If they continued to explore this area, it would inevitably arouse Elder Yu's suspicion. That would not be good. Although no one had found a solution to the Herculean venomous insect during this trip, everyone was very happy. On the way back, their faces were full of smiles. After all, everyone had benefited a lot this time. Lu Tianqi and Qin Shaojing both contacted their families to report that they were safe, and Yang Ming not only solved his biggest worry, but also solved Dong Jun's problem. Now, he could wholeheartedly deal with Elder Yu. The battery-powered vehicle started slowly. Yang Ming and Liu Yezi each drove one, but the starting speed of the battery-powered vehicle surprised Yang Ming and Liu Yezi. It only took about 5 or 6 seconds to accelerate 100 meters. This was simply more powerful than ordinary cars. Moreover, the battery-powered vehicle had been transformed by the motor, battery, tires, and body computer. It became unusually stable, which made Yang Ming secretly praise Sun Sikong. Sun Sikong is really a powerful person. Although this was not a very amazing technology, and many cars could reach this level, to be able to complete the transformation in half an hour was not something that ordinary people could do. However, thinking about the magic of his own glasses, Yang Ming was relieved. If Sun Sikong did not have such powerful scientific knowledge, it was impossible to make his own pair of glasses that could see through things. After the transformation of the vehicle, the speed was really fast. Soon, they returned to the laboratory. It only took more than an hour for everyone to walk through most of the valley. This was unimaginable before, but now it had become a reality. Moreover, this included some places where the road was not very flat. For the safety of Yi and Xiao Susu, Yang Ming and Lu Yezi did not dare to drive too fast. Otherwise, they would have arrived at the laboratory earlier. So fast. For the first time, I feel that this valley is so small. Lin Dongfang couldn't help but sigh after getting off the car. In the past, because of this battery-powered vehicle, the furthest we could go was half of the valley. But now, it is not a problem. Yeah, Brother Lin, this time even if we can't get out of the valley for a while, we can call home during the holidays. Lu Tianqi said with a sigh. Hee, since we are back, how can we not get out of the valley? Lin Dongfang said with a smile, since the decision has been made, then I will take the vigor voodoo today. In these few days, I will fight with Elder Yu to the death and make a conclusion. This matter is over early, and everyone can go back. Our mission is considered completed. Everyone listened to Lin Dongfang's words. Although they had already expected this result, they were still a little silent at this moment, especially Lu Yezi and Yi. They were a little reluctant. Yi wanted to go back to the outer space with Lu Yezi, which was even further away from here. If she wanted to see Lin Dongfang again, it wouldn't be done overnight. As for the children, they had agreed to stay here to accompany Lin Dongfang, which made Lu Yezi and Yi somewhat reluctant. How about I take it? Yang Ming hesitated and said, anyway, it is the same where we live in seclusion. At most, I will not go to Island X. When the time comes, I will bring my wives here to live in seclusion. This valley is also beautiful, and the 4 seasons are pleasant. I think they and my family will also like this place. No. Lin Dongfang shook his head decisively and said, don't you still have to deal with that Dr. Benjamin? How can you stay here? This. Yang Ming was reminded by Lin Dongfang and remembered that he still had a big thing to do after this mission. He was suddenly silent. Yes, if I take the vigor voodoo, how can I leave here? Since it has already been decided, why are you so hesitant? Lin Dongfang frowned, waved his hand and said, if you still don't agree, then I will secretly take it in the middle of the night. Anyway, you can't see it and won't know. Okay. Hearing Lin Dongfang say this, Yang Ming couldn't dissuade him anymore. He could only nod. The others also did the same. Lin Dongfang would rather take the Herculean venomous insect in front of everyone. If there was any trouble, it could be solved. Otherwise, if he took the Herculean venomous insect in front of everyone, no one would know if there was trouble. Chapter 2183. Therefore, after Lu Yezi, Yi, and others listened to Yang Ming's words, they all nodded and agreed with him. Things were settled like this. Lin Dongfang came to the laboratory and swallowed the complete version of the Herculean voodoo under everyone's gaze. However, when Lin Dongfang just swallowed it, there was no difference. He was the same as usual. There was nothing wrong with him. How do you feel? Asked Lu Tianqi. Not bad. There is a feeling of full strength all over my body, said Lin Dongfang. At present, don't rush to fight with Elder Yu. Let's first test how much attack power this Herculean voodoo can make and how long it can last. Yang Ming said, what do you think? That's right, said Lu Tianqi. We must test how long this Herculean voodoo can stay active in Brother Lin's body and how many super strong attacks it can make. After all, our previous experiments were on animals, and Brother Lin is the first person to take it. However, in this regard, Lu Tianqi and Lan Ling were the authority. Yang Ming and others couldn't intervene in the professional test. He just reminded them. After Lin Dongfang took the Herculean venomous worm, everyone began a long test routine. During the test, they found that if Lin Dongfang didn't consume any stamina, that was to say, not long after he took the Herculean venomous worm, he could continuously attack with super strength 3 times. After that, Lin Dongfang began to become like those tested animals. His whole body was weak. This was the same feeling as the restraining drug of Elder Yu's Jin Gang voodoo. It was similar to the feeling of being weak all over. However, Elder Yu's drug could automatically resolve itself after a few days of rest, but this couldn't. Lin Dongfang rested for 3 or 4 days, but he was still weak all over. This was exactly the same as when he first tested it with animals. The effect was not much different. Therefore, Lu Tianqi and others quickly gave Lin Dongfang the nutrient liquids secreted by the quick cicada voodoo, and Lin Dongfang quickly returned to normal. Since the effect had been tested, what everyone wanted to test next was whether Lin Dongfang would affect the activity of the Herculean voodoo in his body when he didn't use high-intensity strength. However, as the days passed, everyone came to an extremely disappointing conclusion. Although Lin Dongfang didn't use too much strength, the activity of the Herculean venomous insect in his body was also decreasing automatically. This was different from everyone's initial imagination because the animals used for testing could replenish their energy through ordinary food when they didn't use too much strength. They didn't need to take nutrients or other things like that. But Lin Dongfang was different. If Lin Dongfang didn't take the nutrient solution, he could only last 7 days. Moreover, it was a maximum of 7 days. During these 7 days, Lin Dongfang didn't do anything that consumed his physical strength. Even so, he could only last for a few days before he had to take the nutrient solution again. This also broke Lu Yezi and Yi's previous fantasy. In their opinion, if Lin Dongfang didn't do something that consumed a lot of physical strength, it shouldn't affect the activity of the Hercules voodoo. He could keep on not taking the nutrient solution. In this way, they could leave the Medicine Valley with Lin Dongfang, but now it seemed impossible. However, this strange phenomenon also made everyone feel a little strange. Why did the results of the experiments on animals become unsuitable for Lin Dongfang? According to the results of the previous experiments, they were all the same. Only the activity of the Herculean venomous insect was different, which made everyone feel very strange. However, under Lan Ling's analysis, everyone finally found the answer. The reason was that the Herculean venomous insect in Lin Dongfang's body had a conflict with the Jin Gang venomous insect. These two venomous insects were originally nemesis, but Lin Dongfang alone took these two venomous insects. Therefore, even if Lin Dongfang didn't use a lot of strength to consume the activity of the Herculean venomous insect, the activity of the Herculean venomous insect was automatically consumed by the Jin Gang venomous insect in his body. In other words, the relationship between the two was basically like a spear and a shield. Although the reason was found, it was impossible to solve this problem because Lin Dongfang had already taken the Herculean venomous insect. Moreover, even if he didn't take the Jin Gang venomous insect and only took the Herculean venomous insect, everyone was worried about him fighting with Elder Yu. If Elder Yu used the ultra-strong body of the Jin Gang venomous insect to hit Lin Dongfang, and Lin Dongfang had high attack and low defense, then he was likely to be seriously injured. 7 days, although it was not a lot, it was definitely enough. With the speed of the quick cicada venomous insect secretion of the nutrient liquid, it was definitely not enough for 2 people, but it was more than enough for Lin Dongfang alone. Lin Dongfang took the nutrient liquid once every 2 days, so that the activity of the Herculean venomous insect in his body could be maintained at the best. The experiment was completed. The effect of the complete version of the Herculean venomous insect was more than 10 times stronger than the previous incomplete version of the Herculean venomous insect. It was really powerful. At this moment, Lin Dongfang could punch a big hole in the mountain wall with one punch. This was absolutely impossible to do in the past. In the following time, everyone began to wait for Elder Yu to come again. Finally, 3 days later, the sound of a helicopter sounded in the sky above the Medicine Valley again. A trace of excitement flashed in everyone's eyes at the same time. Everyone had been waiting for this moment for several days. This time, they were going to test the effect of the Herculean venomous insect. However, the person who came this time was still the confidant of Elder Yu. He came to deliver food to Yang Ming and the others. It was the same as every time. After the helicopter stopped in the Medicine Valley, he moved the food and daily necessities from the helicopter and prepared to leave by plane. He would not say a word to Yang Ming and the others. After all, they had nothing to say unless Yang Ming and the others took the initiative to talk to him. Wait a minute. This time, Yang Ming once again stopped Elder Yu's confidant. What's the matter? Asked Elder Yu's confidant. You go back and tell Elder Yu that the initial stage cultivation of the Jin Gang venomous insect that he wanted has been cultivated. He can add the catalytic enzyme now, said Yang Ming. Cultivated it. The confidant was slightly taken aback, and a look of suspicion flashed across his face. After all, it was only a few days ago. He was deceived once last time. This time, he could not guarantee that Yang Ming was lying again. Of course, it's up to you to believe it or not. You can choose not to believe it. Yang Ming saw the suspicion on the confidant's face and just said faintly. Chapter 2184. Okay, I will convey it truthfully. The confidant's face hesitated slightly, but he finally nodded and agreed. After all, even if Yang Ming was lying, he had to convey it truthfully. What if it was not a lie? If Yang Ming and the others really developed the initial stage cultivation of Jin Gang voodoo, then if he did not report it, the matter would be really big. Because he had to convey Yang Ming's words, the confidant did not dare to neglect. After leaving the food and daily necessities, he directly boarded the helicopter and quickly flew to Elder Yu's residence. Because there was no signal in the Medicine Valley, he could not use the intercom system in the helicopter to get in touch with Elder Yu. He could only go back and inform in person. When this person appeared in Elder Yu's room again, Yang Ming watched their every move without blinking. Last time, Yang Ming suffered a big loss because he neglected a small detail. This time, he would not let any of Elder Yu's inexplicable actions go. You're back. What are Yang Ming and the others doing? Elder Yu saw his confidant come back and nodded to him. Reporting to Elder Yu, when I went to deliver the food and daily necessities, Yang Ming and the others were barbecuing in the Medicine Valley. They seemed to be having an open-air party to celebrate something. But when I was about to leave, Yang Ming stopped me and asked me to tell you after I came back that they developed the initial stage cultivation of Jin Gang voodoo. He asked you to add the catalytic enzyme. As soon as this confidant came back, he conveyed what Yang Ming said to Elder Yu. Oh. It's not slow. It's quite fast. Elder Yu frowned. How credible do you think it is this time? This. Elder Yu, I really don't know because this time, Yang Ming's expression was not much different from when Lu Tianqi and the others told me last time. I can't say whether they have really researched it, or they have come up with a way to deal with you and lure you there. The confidant hesitated and said. Looks like I can only go and take a look again. But no matter what tricks they play, I'm not afraid of them. The right-hand elder sneered and said, "A clown will always be a clown. Yang Ming and the others are not to be feared now. Under my control, they can't play any new tricks." Yes, Elder Yu is wise. Although the confidant didn't know why Elder Yu had so much confidence, it could be seen from the last incident that Elder Yu still had a lot of trump cards. "Alright, check the plane and refuel it. I'll go look for Yang Ming personally." Elder Yu said, "Although I have become invulnerable now, if the helicopter explodes or crashes, I will still be in trouble. I still have to walk a long way." After that confidant listened to Elder Yu's words, he couldn't help but secretly click his tongue. When the helicopter crashed or exploded, the first thing that other people thought about was how to escape and save their lives, but Elder Yu thought about walking a long way. This was really amazing. After the helicopter was ready, Elder Yu personally drove the helicopter to the Medicine Valley again. Like last time, the helicopter slowly stopped in the open space of the Medicine Valley, and Elder Yu got off the helicopter again. However, what made Elder Yu feel strange was that this time, no one came out to greet him. Last time, Yang Ming and the others were standing around, ready for battle. But this time, there was no one. This made Elder Yu a little puzzled. What kind of show is this? They asked me to come, but there is no one. Could it be that these people are resentful about the last incident, so they deliberately released fake news to mess with me? Moreover, Yang Ming also said, "Of course, it's up to you to believe it or not. You can choose not to believe it." Therefore, when Elder Yu thought of this sentence, he felt that Yang Ming was doing it deliberately. But since he was here, Elder Yu had no reason to turn around and leave. He could only get off the helicopter and walk in the direction of the laboratory. In his opinion, the best situation was that Yang Ming and the others were busy studying Jin Ganggu, and they had no time to come out and pick him up. However, when he saw the open space not far away, and the charcoal fire that had not been completely extinguished, he knew that his idea was impossible. Obviously, these people had just had a picnic. How could they be studying Jin Ganggu? However, this also made Elder Yu even more puzzled. What does Yang Ming want to do? With his understanding of Yang Ming, it was impossible for Yang Ming to find him for no reason, and he even used the excuse that the initial stage of the Jin Ganggu had been cultivated. This was simply unbelievable. However, just when Elder Yu was puzzled, a person walked out from the direction of the research room. This person was actually Lin Dongfang. After seeing Lin Dongfang, Elder Yu couldn't help but frown. According to his calculation, after Lin Dongfang was inflicted with the quick cicada goo, even if he did not become an idiot, he should become forgetful and have an incomplete memory. But now, it seemed that Lin Dongfang was still very normal. Could it be that the quick cicada goo had not taken effect yet? Elder Yu was not clear about the specific situation. After all, this was the first time he inflicted the quick cicada goo on others. He also learned the growth cycle of the quick cicada goo from the records in books. There might be some differences between different people. Why is it you? I heard from Yang Ming that the initial stage of the Jin Ganggu has been cultivated, and only the catalytic enzyme is left, asked Elder Yu. Yes, it is indeed completed. You come with me. Lin Dongfang nodded and said blankly. Okay, oh. Elder Yu felt that things were very strange because this time, the attitude of Yang Ming and others towards him was completely different from the last time. Moreover, this time, Yang Ming did not appear at all, but Lin Dongfang appeared. Therefore, this made Elder Yu feel that things seemed to be a bit strange and wrong, but he couldn't tell exactly what was wrong. Moreover, he faintly felt that this time, Lin Dongfang's attitude towards him should be normal. Because every time Elder Yu came here to personally ask about the progress, Lin Dongfang would always answer him with this kind of expressionless face. No. Although there was progress this time, there should be no problem if his expression did not change. After all, in Lin Dongfang's heart, there was resentment towards Elder Yu. At that time, Elder Yu gave Lin Dongfang a quick cicada voodoo that couldn't be removed. Although Lin Dongfang didn't talk about this matter recently, there was definitely a grudge in his heart, so it was understandable that he was indifferent to Elder Yu. Therefore, Elder Yu pondered for a while and walked over quickly. He followed behind Lin Dongfang and walked in the direction of the laboratory with him. Oh. Chapter 2185. However, just as Elder Yu had just caught up with Lin Dongfang's pace, Lin Dongfang suddenly turned around and smashed his fist at Elder Yu's body. For Lin Dongfang's sudden attack, Elder Yu's face flashed a trace of horror. He didn't expect that Lin Dongfang alone would dare to attack him. As a matter of fact, last time, Yang Ming, Lin Dongfang, and Lu Yezi were not Elder Yu's opponent. This time, Lin Dongfang dared to attack alone. Could it be that he ate a leopard's guts? However, although Elder Yu saw Lin Dongfang turn around and punch, he was not a martial arts master after all, and he was not as agile as Yang Ming. After all, he had not received professional training. He only relied on the powerful Jin Gang's unbreakable body to fight against the enemy. But when it came to Qin Gong, he was not good enough. Therefore, even if Elder Yu saw Lin Dongfang make a move, he couldn't avoid it. His body took Lin Dongfang's punch abruptly. Originally, Elder Yu didn't take it seriously at all. In his opinion, how powerful could Lin Dongfang's punch be? It was just an incomplete version of the vigor voodoo. There was nothing to be afraid of. Never mind that Lin Dongfang was alone. Last time, even if Yang Ming and the other two attacked him together, it was impossible to hurt him even a little bit. However, when Lin Dongfang's fist fell on Elder Yu's chest, Elder Yu's expression was suddenly shocked. With a loud bang, the horrified expression on Elder Yu's face turned into a puzzled look. How is it possible? How can Lin Dongfang make such a powerful punch? The power generated by this punch was more than 10 times more than the power generated by the combined attack of Yang Ming and the other two. This simply made Elder Yu somewhat dare not believe it. Boom! Without waiting for Elder Yu to react, just when he was extremely shocked, Lin Dongfang made a move again. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lin Dongfang didn't want to miss it. Elder Yu was right in front of him. How could there be such a good opportunity in the future? Feeling the huge power generated by this punch, Elder Yu finally believed that this punch was really made by Lin Dongfang, but his face flashed a trace of confusion. Soon, it turned into a kind of understanding. Just when Elder Yu wanted to dodge and say something, Lin Dongfang's third punch had already come. For these 3 punches, Lin Dongfang had already grasped the time. He punched 3 punches in a flash, not giving Elder Yu a chance to dodge. In Lin Dongfang's opinion, success or failure depended on this one move. If Elder Yu was prepared, even if he succeeded in the first punch, the second and third punches would definitely not be able to hit Elder Yu. After all, he didn't have a powerful light body technique like Yang Ming. It was impossible to easily get close to Elder Yu, who was vigilant. Therefore, in these 3 punches, the powerful force generated by the Hercules voodoo smashed on Elder Yu's body. Elder Yu's whole body was like a kite with a broken string, flying away with a whoosh. Elder Yu understood. He finally knew why Lin Dongfang was so confident and dared to make a move on him. Because the force that hit his body was definitely not the force that the ordinary simplified version of the Hercules voodoo could produce. This seemed to be close to the complete version of the Hercules voodoo. It turned out that they had successfully refined the complete version of the Hercules voodoo. This time, they called him here just to deal with him. It was not because they had successfully cultivated the initial stage of the Jin Gang voodoo. Although Elder Yu had long thought that this time it might be Yang Ming's trick, he did not expect that in less than a month, they had actually successfully refined the complete version of the Hercules voodoo. If they put the spirit of refining the Hercules voodoo into refining the Jean Gang voodoo, it was estimated that the initial stage of the Jean Gang voodoo could really be refined. Elder Yu's heart was full of grievance and anger. These people, in the medicinal garden and laboratory provided by him, did not work for him, but developed their own Hercules voodoo. The purpose was to deal with him. However, when Elder Yu figured this out, everything had already become an established fact. Elder Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. His body flew all the way to the previous helicopter before landing heavily on the ground. Then, he did not move at all. It could be seen how powerful these 3 punches were. If Elder Yu had known this earlier, he would have used the antidote powder of the Jean Gang voodoo at the beginning and made Lin Dongfang faint on the ground. Then, this would not have happened. However, Elder Yu did not have the ability to predict. In his opinion, Yang Ming and the others had suffered a loss last time, so it was impossible for them to suffer a loss again so quickly. As a result, this time, he was the one who suffered a loss. Who? Lin Dongfang also breathed a sigh of relief. These 3 punches all hit Elder Yu's body. At this time, Yang Ming, Lu Yezi, and others also walked out of the laboratory. They looked at Elder Yu, who fell motionless on the ground not far away, and a relaxed smile appeared on their faces. It's done. Yang Ming looked at Lin Dongfang with some excitement. He did not expect it to be so easy. All 3 punches hit Elder Yu. The Herculean voodoo was the nemesis of the Jean Gang voodoo. Elder Yu was hit by 3 punches of the Herculean voodoo. If he could survive, it would be strange. So, when he saw Elder Yu on the ground in the distance, Yang Ming was really happy. However, things were much easier than Yang Ming thought. Even he did not expect that Lin Dongfang would hit Elder Yu with all 3 punches. Elder Yu did not even have the chance to fight back, and he was sent flying. Is it over? Lu Yezi also looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief. After all, everyone had prepared for a long time to deal with Elder Yu. They had traveled over mountains and rivers to come to the Medicine Valley. They had gone through a lot of hardships to formulate the Herculean voodoo and the Jean Gang voodoo. However, the final result was only 3 punches. This kind of contrast before and after would make anyone feel incredible. I didn't expect it to be so easy. Lin Dongfang smiled bitterly and slumped to the ground. The side effects of the Herculean voodoo immediately appeared. After Lin Dongfang threw 3 punches, he could not even hold on for a quarter of an hour before he died. He had no trace of strength in his body. His body seemed to have no vitality at all. His whole person became lifeless. However, everyone was not too nervous. Although Lin Dongfang could not move in this state, he could still hold on for a while. It would not bring any danger to his life. Chapter 2186. Where is the nutrient solution? Lu Yezi just turned his head and asked a question, but he heard Yang Ming exclaim. Not good. As Yang Ming's words just fell, Elder Yu, who was on the ground not far away, moved at this moment. Under everyone's surprised gaze, Elder Yu got up from the ground. Although his mouth was full of blood, he really stood up. Previously, everyone thought that Elder Yu was definitely going to die this time. After all, the Herculean voodoo was the nemesis of the Vajra voodoo. This thought was deeply rooted in everyone's heart. However, when Elder Yu stood up again, everyone found that the Herculean voodoo's 3 consecutive high-intensity attacks had no effect on Elder Yu. You didn't die. Yang Ming stared at Elder Yu not far away and asked nervously. Die? Do you think that you can kill me with just a few moves? Elder Yu sneered and snorted, you overestimate yourself. Don't think that I will die just because I spat out a mouthful of blood. I just suffered a slight internal injury. Although the power of the vigor voodoo is great, but, hee. Yezi, let's go together. Don't listen to his nonsense. Yang Ming had suffered a loss before, so he subconsciously thought that Elder Yu was just lying to him. How could Yang Ming give him this opportunity? Yang Ming didn't want to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to kill him while he was down. Lu Yezi understood and rushed toward Elder Yu with Yang Ming. The two of them almost punched at the same time and hit Elder Yu. Elder Yu didn't seem to care. He waved his hand twice and blocked the attacks of Yang Ming and Lu Yezi. Moreover, there was a very disdainful expression on his face. You dare to attack me with just a few moves. It's ridiculous. Are you really okay? Feeling that Elder Yu really didn't seem to be injured, this made Yang Ming very depressed. Originally, Yang Ming thought that Elder Yu was just stalling for time, but now that he had fought with him personally, Yang Ming knew that Elder Yu was really not injured. I've already said it before. How could you possibly kill me with your meager skills? You really overestimate yourself. Elder Yu said proudly. At this time, Lin Dongfang also took the nutrient solution and his strength immediately returned to normal. He rushed towards the right-hand elder again. He also saw that Elder Yu was fine, so he chose to attack again. Elder Yu looked at Lin Dongfang who was rushing over and couldn't help but sneer and said, "Just now, I was caught off guard and your punches injured my internal organs. But now, do you think that you can do anything to me when I am prepared?" Lin Dongfang didn't listen to what Elder Yu said. He still rushed towards Elder Yu regardless. This was everyone's hope. He had to persevere. Yang Ming and Lu Yezi saw this scene and dodged at the same time. As for Lin Dongfang, he rushed straight towards Elder Yu. Elder Yu, on the other hand, acted as if he didn't see it at all. He stood on the spot and let Lin Dongfang's fist hit him. But this time, Elder Yu didn't move. He wasn't sent flying by Lin Dongfang. He didn't even move a step. Boom! Boom! Lin Dongfang's first punch didn't work, so he threw two more punches in succession. Unfortunately, Elder Yu didn't seem to be afraid of being hit at all. These 3 punches, none of them could hurt Elder Yu a single bit. Until this moment, everyone finally believed Elder Yu's words. It turned out that he was really not afraid of Lin Dongfang's attack, and he was really fine. I was caught off guard before, so I was hit by you and fell to the ground. I was dizzy from the fall, but you look so stupid. Did you think I was dead? Elder Yu looked at Yang Ming and others sarcastically and said, "Don't force me to use the nemesis of Jin Gang voodoo again. You won't be able to get out of bed for 3 days." On the faces of Yang Ming, Lu Yezi, Lin Dongfang, and others, there was deep unwillingness, but there was nothing they could do. After all, the vigor voodoo that everyone had high hopes for was useless. As a result, everyone felt a little discouraged. Originally, he thought that the Herculean venomous worm could completely defeat the Vajra venomous worm. But now, it seemed that Elder Yu was completely fine. His own people had taken the Herculean venomous worm for no reason and would never be able to leave the vicinity of the Medicine Valley. After all, no one could accept this kind of psychological difference. Why? Isn't the Herculean strength goo the nemesis of Jin Gang voodoo? Why is it ineffective against you? Yang Ming asked with some unwillingness. Even if they lost, they had to figure out the reason. They couldn't lose without knowing why, right? You want to know? Elder Yu smiled and said, "If you want to know, I might as well tell you." "What's the reason?" asked Yang Ming. "The reason? In fact, it's very simple." Elder Yu sneered and said, "If I'm not wrong, Lin Dongfang took the complete version of the Herculean strength goo, right?" "Yes, it is because you have taken the complete version of the Hercules voodoo, so I want to ask, what is the problem that this Hercules voodoo has no effect on you? Yang Ming asked. It's because before he took the Herculean strength goo, he also took the Jin Gang voodoo. The Jin Gang voodoo and the Herculean strength goo are two kinds of voodoo that restrain each other. Although the Herculean strength goo is better, there is the Jin Gang voodoo in his body. Even if he took the complete version of the Herculean strength goo, it is absolutely impossible to exert the effect of the Herculean strength goo to its peak state. Because there will always be a part of the Herculean strength goo that is restrained by the Jin Gang voodoo. As a result, do you think he will still be my opponent? It turned out to be like this. Yang Ming suddenly realized. Lan Ling also mentioned a similar problem before, but at that time, he considered why Lin Dongfang couldn't persist for too long without taking the nutrient solution without activating the activity of the Herculean strength goo. He didn't expect that the effect of the Herculean strength goo would also be affected by the Jin Gang voodoo. I advise you to spend your energy on refining the Jin Gang voodoo. Don't waste your time. If I were you, I would have been beaten to death. You are still tirelessly trying again and again. You really have perseverance. Elder Yu shook his head and looked at Yang Ming and others with a contemptuous look. However, Elder Yu, you told us the reason for this matter. Aren't you afraid that after we know the reason, we will let a person who has not taken the Jin Gang voodoo take the Herculean strength goo? Yang Ming asked with some doubts and puzzlement. Chapter 2187. This was what Yang Ming found most inconceivable. It was reasonable to say that Elder Yu was not a fool. Not only was he not a fool, but he was also a very cautious and cunning person. As a result, Yang Ming was repeatedly deceived. But this time, Elder Yu told the reason why Lin Dongfang's Herculean strength goo was ineffective against his Jin Gang goo. Didn't that mean that it was equivalent to revealing his weakness? This approach, either Elder Yu had other trump cards, or he had a problem with his IQ. However, the possibility of Elder Yu having a problem with his IQ was almost zero. From various signs, this guy was not very smart, but he should be very smart. Therefore, Yang Ming couldn't help but ask directly. Since I told you the reason, of course, I am not afraid. Elder Yu seemed to have known that Yang Ming would ask this question. He raised his eyebrows slightly and said faintly, not to mention Lin Dongfang's Hercules voodoo that is restrained by Vajra voodoo, even the complete version of Hercules voodoo without any restraint has no effect on me. So I advise you not to waste your effort. If you have the time, quickly help me cultivate the initial stage Jin Gang goo. Why? Yang Ming asked puzzledly, isn't Herculean strength goo the nemesis of Jin Gang goo? I said before that the Jin Gang goo in my body is actually not Jin Gang goo. It has been refined into an evil goo by me. At first, it was an incomplete version of Jin Gang goo, but after the sacrificial refinement with my blood, the incomplete Jin Gang goo in my body has become the same effect as the complete version of Jin Gang goo. Moreover, it has now surpassed the complete version of Jin Gang goo. Elder Yu said, therefore, even if it is Herculean strength goo, it is ineffective against the Jin Gang goo in my body. This has already surpassed the existence of Jin Gang goo, and it has become a new super Jin Gang goo. Oh. Then, in that case, why do you want us to refine the Jin Gang goo for you? The Jin Gang goo in your body has become a super Jin Gang goo, then why do you need a weaker Jin Gang goo than you? Yang Ming was even more puzzled by Elder Yu's answer. You are not wrong, but my incomplete Jin Gang goo has a shortcoming. It must be refined with blood. This is too troublesome. If I don't use blood for sacrificial refinement for a period of time, it will be ineffective. Therefore, I want the complete version of Jin Gang goo. With the complete version of Jin Gang goo, I can integrate the two together and become a real super Jin Gang goo. At that time, it will be a true perfect state. Elder Yu did not hide it and told the reason to Yang Ming. In fact, Elder Yu was not afraid of Yang Ming. Now, although his super gene Gangu was a little troublesome, he could defeat Yang Ming and others. Even if these people ate the complete version of Herculean strength goo, they could not do anything to him, so Elder Yu did not care to tell the truth to Yang Ming. So that's the case. Yang Ming suddenly realized. At the same time, there was some bitterness in his words. Once again, he fought with Elder Yu full of hope, but the result was still a failure. Could it be that the efforts of us and others really have no effect? Yang Ming's heart was full of deep unwillingness, but there was no way. Jin Gangu, Elder Yu had a way to break it, so it was not dangerous to him. However, the only Herculean strength goo that everyone had high hopes for was not effective. At this moment, Elder Yu was simply an invulnerable monster. Alright, I should go now. I hope that the next time you call me, you have really successfully refined the initial stage of Jin Gangu. Otherwise, my patience is limited. Don't think that my repeated tolerance is benevolence. The reason why I let you go is because you are not a threat to me. If I didn't expect you to refine the Jin Gangu for me, do you think you can still live until now? Elder Yu snorted and said, "Be smart, don't always do stupid things." After speaking, Elder Yu turned around and strode to the helicopter. He started the helicopter's engine and left with a roar. Of course, Elder Yu naturally thought that it was impossible for Yang Ming and others to successfully refine the initial stage of Jin Gangu, so he left without looking. What he didn't know was that in fact, the initial stage of Jin Gangu was not difficult for Yang Ming and others at all. If they wanted to refine it, with the cooperation of Yang Ming's glasses, they could succeed in one try. However, no one went to tell Elder Yu about this, because everyone was naturally unwilling to give the initial stage of Jin Gangu to Elder Yu. In this way, Elder Yu left the Medicine Valley under everyone's disappointed and helpless gazes. Sigh. Yang Ming sighed deeply and sat on the ground helplessly. His eyes were full of decadence. It still doesn't work. If this doesn't work, let's change it. We can always think of a way. Lu Yezi comforted, "Bro, although Elder Yu is powerful, we shouldn't be discouraged. We should be braver with every setback." Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Although he said so, sometimes it was one thing to say, and it was another thing to really do it. The complete version of the Hercules goo was everyone's only hope. In everyone's opinion, the Hercules goo could definitely beat the Jin Gangu. Therefore, after everyone made the decision to let Lin Dongfang take this Hercules goo, they thought about the problem of what to do if Lin Dongfang stayed in West Star Mountain Village in the future. They never thought that they would actually fail to attack Elder Yu. Now, Lin Dongfang couldn't leave the Medicine Valley, but everyone couldn't leave the Medicine Valley either. Everything returned to the starting point from the end, which made everyone somewhat unable to accept it. How to change it? Now that all the methods have been used, even the Hercules goo is not Elder Yu's opponent. What else can we do? Yang Ming was really discouraged. He had never been so desperate, but now, he really had a feeling of powerlessness. He really didn't know what else to do and what to do. Because all the methods that should be used had been used. Elder Yu was safe and sound, but one of his own people had to stay in the Medicine Valley forever and couldn't leave. Although there were no casualties, this loss was not heavy. At least in Yang Ming's heart, it was a little uncomfortable. Everyone was silent after listening to Yang Ming's words. After all, what Yang Ming said was reasonable, but no one said anything. After all, the more they said, the more depressed they would be. Don't think too much. Go back and rest. Everyone is tired enough. If there is anything, let's talk about it after resting. Lon Ling walked over and comforted Yang Ming. Chapter 2188. Indeed, it's time to have a good rest. Yang Ming was really a little tired. He smiled bitterly at Lan Ling, stood up, and walked to his house with Xia Shui. As for Lin Dongfang, after Yi gave him a nutrient solution, he went to rest with Lu Yezi. The others also dispersed, leaving only the empty space and some ashes left behind from the barbecue before. When they were barbecuing just a moment ago, everyone's mood was still happy and full of hope, but now, the hope had turned into disappointment. In the next few days, Yang Ming's mood was very low and depressed. He didn't say anything when he was eating. After he finished eating, he went back to his room to rest. Of course, the situation of the others was not good. Only Feng Tianlong and Xiao Susu were somewhat optimistic because they were the same everywhere. Xiao Susu treated every day as her last day, so she didn't have as much burden in her heart as Yang Ming. Xia Shui and Lan Ling saw that Yang Ming was so depressed. Although they understood his mood at the moment, they also wanted him to cheer up again. After all, Yang Ming was everyone's backbone. If Yang Ming lost confidence, then the others would be even more depressed. Therefore, Xia Shui and Lan Ling started to persuade Yang Ming in different ways every day. In fact, Yang Ming had already thought it through in his heart. The reason why he was still so depressed was that he couldn't find the motivation to cheer himself up. If there were other ways to deal with Elder Yu now, perhaps Yang Ming would stand up and continue to work hard without saying anything. However, there was no such thing. Yang Ming, why don't I contact Grandma again? Lan Ling suddenly thought of a problem. That was, since the Herculean voodoo was ineffective against Elder Yu's Jin Gang voodoo, then did Grandma have a way? After all, Grandma had more experience than her. If she asked, she might find a solution. Oh. After Yang Ming heard Lan Ling's words, his eyes suddenly lit up. Yeah, why didn't I think of it before? Although they didn't have a solution, Lan Ling's grandmother was an authority in this area. Perhaps if they explained the situation to Lan Ling's grandmother, she might have a solution. Thinking of this, Yang Ming's eyes lit up. That's a good idea. Why didn't I think of it before? I just had a flash of inspiration. I was thinking about how to persuade you. As I thought about it, I remembered how Grandma would comfort me when I was feeling down when I was young. So I thought of Grandma. I thought that maybe she would have a way. Lan Ling said with some embarrassment, I didn't think about this before. Since that's the case, what are we waiting for? Let's call your grandma and ask her if she has a good idea. Since Yang Ming found a way, he naturally couldn't hold back and wanted to leave now. Sure. Lan Ling saw that Yang Ming cheered up and was very happy. Xia Shui, who was on the side, finally breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Yang Ming had regained his previous confidence. Although they didn't know if Lan Ling's grandmother would have a solution, it seemed that this was a good thing for now. Yang Ming was a person who acted swiftly. Since he thought of a solution, he immediately put it into action. He directly gathered Lin Dongfang, Lu Tianqi, Lu Yezi, Feng Tianlong, and the others and told them about Lan Ling's proposal. After everyone heard it, they were all delighted. After all, what Yang Ming said might really be a solution. Everyone was immersed in a depressed and helpless mood these days. After listening to Yang Ming's words, they were all refreshed. But this time, I don't want to go with too many people. I think only Lan Ling and I will go and make a call. You guys stay here. I am afraid that when Elder Yu sends someone and finds that we are not here, he will be suspicious. Yang Ming suggested. Although no one stayed in the research room when they left several times before, it was because Yang Ming and others had no ulterior motives. They simply drove the battery car to look for medicinal materials. Even if Elder Yu found out, they could completely excuse that they were looking for medicinal materials to refine Jin Gang voodoo. It would not bring any consequences to them at all. But now it was different. Yang Ming was going to Sun Sikong's place to make a call. If Elder Yu found there, maybe Elder Yu would directly destroy the flying saucer and then destroy the equipment in the cave. That would be a big loss. Therefore, Yang Ming had to be careful. Everyone agreed with Yang Ming's proposal. After all, everyone had just talked to their families not long ago. There was no need to go again. Therefore, this time, Yang Ming, Lan Ling, and Xia Shui drove the battery car to find Sun Sikong to make a call. The others would stay here as usual. Even if Elder Yu sent someone and saw that there were people here, he would not think much even if Yang Ming was not here. Since the decision was made, there was no delay. Yang Ming drove the battery car, carrying Xia Shui and Lan Ling, and drove to the cave where Sun Sikong was. The modified battery car's speed was amazing. This time, there was no pregnant woman in the car. Yang Ming naturally did not need to be so careful when driving, and the speed was much faster. Therefore, Yang Ming and the other two quickly arrived near the cave where Sun Sikong parked the flying saucer. This time, the time taken was much less than the time taken to go back last time. For the appearance of Yang Ming and the others, Sun Sikong seemed to have already known. Before Yang Ming approached, the stone door of the cave slowly rose. Yang Ming was not surprised at this scene. After all, Sun Sikong said that he could receive the information sent by the glasses. Although he could not see the specific image, Yang Ming saw the flying saucer and this information would be transmitted. What's more, Sun Sikong had been monitoring the movement outside the cave. If an electric car came here, it was impossible for them not to notice it. Yang Ming, it hasn't been long. Why are you here again? Sun Sikong was a little puzzled by Yang Ming's appearance again. Mo Kongwen also appeared at the entrance of the cave at this time. He looked at Yang Ming and said, "I'm afraid you returned without any results, right?" Yang Ming was slightly startled, and then he thought of Mo Kongwen's powerful fortune-telling ability, so he smiled bitterly and said, "Mr. Mo is really a fortune-teller. This time, I indeed returned without any results. Your Herculean voodoo has no effect." Sun Sikong asked with some surprise. "Grandpa's son, can't you receive the information sent by my glasses?" Yang Ming was slightly startled. Chapter 2189. You didn't use the special ability of the glasses. How can I receive it? Sun Sikong shook his head and said, "What's more, now I completely trust you. If you didn't send the early warning signal, I wouldn't analyze the signal sent by your glasses. It turns out to be like this." Yang Ming nodded and said, "To be honest with Grandpa's son, the vigor voodoo didn't work as expected. We failed." "It doesn't matter if you failed. Failure is the mother of success." Sun Sikong didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. After all, he was a scientist. When he was researching scientific experiments, he often fell into difficulties. Failure was a common occurrence, so he was so calm. "It doesn't matter." Yang Ming couldn't help but shrug helplessly after listening. "We came here this time to borrow your phone. I don't know if it's okay." "Of course, I said that when you want to get in touch with the outside world, you can come at any time." Sun Sikong nodded indifferently and said, "But didn't you just call not long ago?" "It's different this time. Lan Ling is going to call her grandmother. Maybe her grandmother has a way to deal with Elder Yu," said Yang Ming. "Elder Yu? Okay, then you can call," said Sun Sikong. Yang Ming and Lan Ling didn't hesitate and directly entered the cave. Xia Shui waited by the side. She didn't need to be here for the time being. She came here to accompany Yang Ming and Lan Ling and enjoy the scenery. Lan Ling came to the phone and dialed a phone number. After a while, the call was finally connected. Last time, Lan Ling didn't call home because she left Lan Miao Village without the support of most people in Lan Miao Village. So, before the matter was resolved, Lan Ling didn't want to contact her grandmother. This was also the reason why she had some stubbornness in her heart. But now, there was really no way, so Lan Ling dialed her grandmother's phone. Hello. Lan Ling's grandmother's voice came from the phone. In the past, there was no cell phone signal near Lan Miao Village, so she rarely used the phone. After the satellite phone was installed, she basically didn't use it. Especially Lan Ling's grandmother's phone, she didn't use it much. Therefore, she was a little curious as to who would call her at this time. Grandma, it's me. Ling Ling. When Lan Ling heard her grandma's voice, a strong sense of longing welled up in her heart. Ling Ling. It's you. Grandma Lan was surprised and happy when she heard Lan Ling's voice. Ling Ling, how are you? Are you okay? Ever since you left, there hasn't been any news. Grandma is very anxious, but there's nothing we can do. Grandma, I'm fine. There's no danger for the time being. Lan Ling said, don't worry. I'm with Yang Ming, that's good. It's good that you're fine. You and Elder Yu. Recently, Blue Miao Village did not receive any news about Elder Yu. Of course, Elder Yu would not reveal information about Yang Ming and the others to anyone other than his trusted subordinates. After all, Elder Yu's subordinates were not completely united. There must be people from Blue Miao Village among them, just like how Elder Yu's subordinates were also in Blue Miao Village. Therefore, if Elder Yu wanted to show off, he could only show off to his partner, Dong Jun. He really did not dare to say anything to other people. As a result, Lan Ling's grandma had not received any useful news until now. Elder Yu's matter is what I want to talk to you about. As Lan Ling said this, she told her grandma everything that happened during this period of time in detail, including the initial use of the simplified version of the Herculean voodoo to deal with Elder Yu to the current use of the complete version of the Herculean voodoo to deal with Elder Yu. Both methods could not cause any harm to Elder Yu. This was the reason why Lan Ling was anxious. The complete version of the Herculean voodoo has no effect on him. And you have actually succeeded in refining it. Grandma Lan was a little surprised after listening to Lan Ling's words. In fact, Blue Miao Village was also studying the Herculean voodoo relentlessly, but there was no result. She did not expect Lan Ling to not only succeed in researching the Herculean voodoo, but also the Jin Gang voodoo. However, the most depressing thing was that the complete version of the Herculean voodoo had no effect on Elder Yu's variant Jin Gang voodoo. Yes, it has no effect. Lan Ling said truthfully, it's impossible to deal with Elder Yu using ordinary methods. So, Yang Ming and I want to ask you to think of a way. Otherwise, we will be trapped here and can't get out. Of course, Lan Ling did not mention the flying saucer. If they wanted to leave, they could still escape. However, if they escaped, Yang Ming's mission would definitely not be completed. Moreover, Yang Ming could not leave. After all, he had already formed a grudge with Elder Yu. Even if Yang Ming left, Elder Yu would probably seek revenge, so they had to make a conclusion. What's more, Elder Yu wanted to return to Blue Miao Village. His ambition to control Blue Miao Village had always been there. How could Lan Ling let him succeed? I have to think about this. I have no way now. Grandma Lan said, but give me some time. Let me think of other solutions. Okay, then we will contact you again after a while. Asked Lan Ling, can I call back this number? When I call this number, can I reach you? Asked Grandma Lan. Grandma, wait. Let me ask. Lan Ling was not sure if she could reach her by calling this number, so she turned to look at Sun Sikong and asked, Grandpa's son, can you call back this number? Of course, there should be a caller ID there. This phone also has a number, said Sun Sikong. Sun Sikong said. Although this phone can establish contact with aliens, since it can make ordinary calls, it naturally has a transfer number. Okay, Grandma. If you think of a way, can you call this number to find me, said Lan Ling. Okay, Ling Ling. You and Yang Ming should also pay attention to safety and protect yourselves. Grandma Lan instructed. The call ended. Although Lan Ling's grandmother did not think of a good way for the time being, she was an old person with rich experience in voodoo. She should be able to think of some countermeasures. Perhaps, she could upgrade the Herculean voodoo into the Super Herculean voodoo. Grandpa's son, if my grandmother calls, can you please inform us? Lan Ling turned to ask Sun Sikong. Of course, when there is news, I will inform you. Sun Sikong nodded without hesitation. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.